Hello, and welcome to another episode of the How Long to Beat podcast, the podcast by and for members of the How Long to Beat community. This is our final episode of 2025. The year's coming to a close. Oh my goodness, but I should probably introduce myself and my co host first. So, my name is Diallo. I'm joined by my co host Matt,
Hello.
Roy,
Yo.
and Leah.
Hello.
But yeah, we are coming to the close of 2025. We're going to be talking about the games that we've beaten, retired, and are currently playing. This is also going to be the very last episode that we play our typical Guess the Game game. We're bringing it to a close in 2025 and introducing something new and exciting in 2026, so get excited for that. And then for our discussion this week, or this episode, we're going to be talking about gifted games as we, approach the holiday season. Going to be reflecting on some of the games that we've gotten as gifts in the past. Before we get into that, let's talk about what we've been playing since last time, or beaten. Let's talk about games. So who wants to start with the games that they've beaten since last time?
Yo, I can start.
Oh yeah, what have you beaten, Roy?
Fucking nothing. Let's go.
Epic.
Same.
Again, not cleaning your plates. Diallo and I have to carry this again. How embarrassing for you two. Yeah, I guess I'll just start it off with my beaten games. I got two on my notes here. One of which I have mentioned in the previous episode already. When we were talking about replays and planned replays, I was mentioning this as something that I would wanna play for a second time very soon. And this is the Beginner's Guide, another game by the Stanley Parable developer. And I think this one is like a bit less popular. It didn't like do that big waves, not as much as like Stanley Parable at least, which doesn't surprise me. It's even more story focused and with less interactivity than Stanley Parable. So I get why people are not like drawn to this one too much. But I remembered playing this close to a decade ago or whatever, like an eternity ago, and really, really loving the story that it told. Thinking that the structure of it, like it used the medium of a video game in a very, very unique way to tell a very, very unique story that way. And so I was really, really curious for a while now if I would like come back to this and see it a second time, because I also forgot a lot about the details and whatnot. If this would actually hold up to my great memories, and it genuinely did. The Beginner's Guide is sort of like an interactive essay thing, although fictional, where the narrator guides you through a bunch of abandoned old video game projects from this fictional like character they know from their friend, and like tells you about their relationship, about this friend. You get to see that person's growth in game development and how things changed over time, how ideas changed over time. And it's just like I said, you could probably not do this in any other medium, where you literally walk through these actual game design documents or like unfinished levels and whatnot. A lot of them have like familiar elements to them, as they like try to evoke the Source engine, which is like an infamously widespread known engine used for a lot of games, by Valve, the whole Half-Life, the core of Half-Life, and so on. So you see a lot of like genuinely recognizable, authentic bits and pieces of game development as you walk through these levels, and the narration, um, given, I believe, generally by the developer of these games. I think the Stanley Parable developer is also the voice actor here, playing himself. The narration does a really good job at stringing you along this story, this very character-based story, even giving you a bit of twist and turns throughout it. Um, really like changing the perspectives on the relationship between these characters, and it's generally one of the most fascinating like fictional stories that I have witnessed in a video game. Uh, and of course, just having a video game that is about video game development itself is just a little like thing that I absolutely adore, and I genuinely don't think I've seen a game do it this fantastically, this greatly. Uh, Yeah, I'm super glad I went back to experience this one more time because it completely held up to my grand bright memories. Did not let me down at all. And who knows, maybe in 10 years time I'm gonna play it again for a third time. If the developer does another game, I would actually like kind of hope it's not another Stanley Parable. I would actually kind of hope it would be more of a story focused game again, like Beginner's Guide. This is such a unique piece of fiction, I think. Highly recommended. The other game that I have beaten is technically also a replay, although I have never beaten this before. I just messed around with it a lot. This is Worms 2, one of the OG classic Worms games in that like eternal franchise. They recently like celebrated their 30-year anniversary or whatever. Yeah, it was 30
Wow.
years. And so like all of their games were on sale for like 90% off and whatever. I already owned uh, a lot of them, and now I own basically all that are on Steam at least. Proud of that. Worms 2 is not on Steam. Worms 2 is like one of the like leftovers that never were like properly ported to modern systems. There is a GOG release, but even that is not actually compatible with modern systems. But there's a fan patch as there usually is that makes it work flawlessly on Windows 11. And so I was able to play Worms 2 for the first time probably since like 20 years ago. That is probably accurate. This is this was the first Worms game that I ever played as a child and one that I was obsessed with back in the day, but also genuinely one that I have not revisited since. So going back to this was an actual big ass nostalgia blast. Even just seeing the menus and whatnot was like I've not had such big waves of nostalgia with something in a long time. Though where my experience this time differed is that back in the day I was just messing around in multiplayer stuff, just casual games, messing around with the map editor a ton, that sort of stuff. I think I dabbled in the single player campaign that this offers for a little bit, but I highly doubt that I got anywhere near even the halfway point of it. So this time I started it out of curiosity, seeing how far I could get as an adult. And I did like kind of get really sucked into this. I played this for hours on end, like every night after work for a little bit there, and actually did eventually finish the campaign for the first time ever, which includes 45 missions in a team deathmatch. I guess if somebody doesn't know what Worms is, I should actually explain the like core concept. It, it it's a turn-based war game on a 2D platform, 2D field, where you have a group of worms and you try to eliminate your enemy team of worms with a limited, always changing inventory of weapons. It's like a very simple concept that just works in an almost timeless way. Because it's easy to grasp, but there's a lot of freedom to master the individual elements. Um, the campaign, of course, also switches up the game types with different variations of this deathmatch and whatnot, like different rules every now and then, which is actually pretty cool. um, Love this game, had a ton of fun with this campaign. There's one level that sucks my fucking nuts in a bad way.
In a bad way.
Yeah. Before I actually like got to that level myself, I was looking at the how long to be completion notes and I actually there's a user that I want to give a shout out to. Because that user did put a completion note for Worms 2, and it specifically mentioned skipping level 44. It's the second to last level of the whole campaign. That user's name is Benzine. Shout out to Benzine. You are so valid for having skipped level 44 of Worms 2. Because that shit was like, it was horrid. It was so nasty the way that it set you up with like insane disadvantages to your NPC enemy team, and how perfect you had to do some trick shots to actually survive. None of the other levels, not even the actual final level of the campaign, none of them compared to this one. I spent 2 whole hours on this one level, and like my entire beat time was, I think, like 8 hours of the campaign. So that was
Oh
a
wow.
significant time. Um, just this one goddamn level, and it was so annoying when I finally figured out the strategy and actually was able to execute the required like trick shots to get through this basically puzzle. I actually like shouted at my screen and whatnot. Like I got footage of that stuff because I was streaming at the time. So that's for that W is forever like safe and sound on YouTube servers. Uh,
I
yeah,
mean,
I've
you know what they say, W is for worms.
W is for worms. Yeah, that almost broke me, but like getting through it was so sweet. And again, like, God, yeah, skip this goddamn shit if you ever get stuck on that. It's so. I wanna talk to the person that designed that level specifically. It was a crazy thing. I even talked a little bit to Worms 2 speedrunners that actually like had
Oh
a show
wow.
at GDQ and whatnot. Um, I happened to like talk with a couple of those, and even one of them told me they were never able to beat the campaign casually. They only ever beat the campaign once they like put together their speedrun strat and whatnot. Like only with those hardcore strategies were they ever able to beat this. And they were kind of
That's kind
impressed
of
with me
wild.
actually beating it casually, which is I thought that was really funny to hear. But yeah, that was
Wow.
it was a good fix of worms, and I'm on the verge of like falling down another rabbit hole and playing a ton more of the worms games.
Another wormhole.
Yeah, yeah. I've already like put a lot of hours in different worms games, but I think this one and the 2 Nintendo DS open warfare games are the only worms games I actually played the
Yes.
campaigns for. Yeah, those were pretty good. But otherwise, I've never really touched the campaigns of any of the other Worms games. And this is kind of making me want to actually explore more of those. So that might come up in future episodes.
Hmm.
But for now, that is my 2 beaten games. Both were actually very satisfying.
I'm glad you mentioned the Worms DS game because I have such fond middle school
Yeah.
memories of playing the multiplayer mode of that with my friends and like using the DS's wireless like multiplayer
Yeah.
functionality and thinking this is the future. This is the peak of gaming. It just it will always have a special place in my heart because of that.
That's it's actually so funny to me because I a lot of the PC Worms games I played with my friends, either online or offline, at the same device, at the same PC. But those DS games were the only games that I've never had any friends play with me because nobody cared about them at the time. Which is probably the only reason why those were the 2 that I played the campaign of, in hindsight. Uh, just had nobody to play against. But that was also cool because it had, of course, the touch screen where you could actually draw your custom maps and whatever. It was a big deal at the time for me. Yeah.
I mean, it does sound fairly neat to do that.
People behind Beginner's Guide, they apparently have a new game out called
Oh.
Wander Stop, but it looks like nothing
Oh,
like
Oh
yeah.
the other
yeah.
2, which is interesting. But I also really liked Beginner's Guide when I played it, so I'm curious to see. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about Wander Stop yet, so I don't know what the consensus is.
I've heard some people play it. I feel like general consensus for what I've seen is pretty good, but maybe a bit frothy, I guess, is how some people kind of put it, if that makes sense, like writing
Yeah.
wise.
It also like I have heard of this game frequently even, but I keep forgetting it's a Stanley Parable person. And it makes sense because, like you said, it does not look at all like the previous games from them. Yeah.
Yeah. I always something that always makes me laugh a little is I watch this YouTuber called Doug, and randomly he's the brother of the Stanley
Oh
Parable guy.
yeah.
And he actually appeared on stream like 2 times or whatever. It always jump scares me. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, somebody told me that before, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's my 2 beaten games. Diallo, I see you have beaten something as well, so
I have one beaten game. I have finally hit the ending of Pokemon Legends ZA. Um, yeah, I've talked about this game in a couple episodes in the past, so we'll see. So yeah, I guess my thoughts towards the ending. So I've mentioned previously how this game, because it has more of like a fleshed out story, it feels kind of well, not only because it has more fleshed out story than a typical Pokemon game, and it feels kind of more JRPG-esque than a typical Pokemon game. And the ending of this game really sort of solidified that feeling for me. Like you have a little mini boss rush towards the end. As I was getting like towards like the final beats of the game, I kept getting flashbacks to Persona 5. So it felt like,
Huh.
kind of, yeah. I was like, oh, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu in these little final moments here. I'm not gonna, I don't want to go into spoilers to explain
Yeah.
fully, but I think if you play the game, you'll see there's a little bit of shared DNA there. I will say though, when there's all these like the cinematic actiony moments happening towards the end, it really makes the voice acting stand out that much more. Like it's still wild to me how the highest grossing franchise of all time is still not doing voice acting in their video games in 2025. It's wild. Like I remember the first one that really stood out to me was in Pokemon Sword and Shield, where Pierce is like, "Listen to me sing" or whatever, and there's just like silence. Like, when Pokemon games need to have voice acting. Anywho, but by the time I got to the credits, I was definitely ready to mostly be done with the game. I felt like the bosses were feeling a bit repetitive. The rogue mega evolved Pokemon that you fight as sort of the bosses in this game, those battles were starting to feel a bit repetitive for me. It was starting to wear its welcome a little bit. And typically for me, I feel like the post game is where the real fun begins when I'm playing a Pokemon game. Like I kind of treat the main story and the post game as two separate entities. So for me, the main story is kind of like a fun little challenge to build a team of Pokemon that I've never used before and get through all of the gym leaders, etc. Then once you get to the post game, it's all about completing the Pokedex, training a team for competitive, breeding the Pokemon, doing the EV training, getting their nice movesets and everything, maybe a little bit of shiny hunting. I wasn't exactly sure because I wasn't fully invested in like the new battle system and everything this time around. I wasn't 100% sure like how much of the post game was going to explore, but I was like, let me check it out, see what they're offering this time around, see how the post game for this one feels. And I feel like for Pokemon games, the post game it's really hit or miss with like how fleshed out the post game is. Some of them have like a really expansive post game. Like for Gen 2, for example, you have a whole separate region to go to. It's kind of like
Yeah.
yeah. Some of them have like really fun side stories and everything, and other ones kind of are a little bit lacking. Maybe there's a couple little things, a little Easter egg sprinkled around the region, but not a ton of content. And I feel like this game sadly falls into the latter category. There's a small handful of new missions. There's a couple legendaries to catch, not new ones, but returning legendaries you can catch in the post game. But besides that, there's not really that much going on this time around. I think the main draw for people who want to invest a lot of hours in this game is going to be grinding for the shiny charm. So there's research. There's research levels in this game. So in Pokemon Legends Arceus, as you catch the same Pokemon repeatedly, you sort of like fill out the entries of its Pokedex for that. There's kind of a twist in the system this time around where you have research levels. Everything you do in the game contributes to getting research points, and as you accumulate enough points, you hit different research levels. There's 50 levels total, and the final reward for getting to level 50 is the shiny charm. The most arduous task to complete to get said shiny charm is you have to complete 1,000 battles, and I'm nearly positive I'm not going to have the stamina in me to go through the work of doing all of that. So I don't think I'll be grinding towards the shiny charm, but I want to, do some of the research tasks. I will say I have a small complaint about shiny Pokemon in this game. This game does a lot of good stuff with shiny hunting, or with shiny Pokemon in general. So they've introduced this new feature, continuing the trend from Pokemon Scarlet Violet and Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's generally easier to shiny hunt in this game because you see so many more Pokemon on screen at once.
Right, yeah.
So compared to like a typical or the earlier games where you were doing like one randomized encounter after the other, because you can have multiple Pokemon on screen at the time now, it's easier because you're having so many more like quote unquote encounters at once. It's easier to sort of like you're seeing more Pokemon, so it's right. So it inevitably you'll be seeing more shiny Pokemon, and this game does something really cool in that the shiny Pokemon don't despawn now. If you like leave the area and come back, the shinies that you have spawned will still be there. The exception being if you defeat them or if they flee, and there's some Pokemon that flee. What's a little bit frustrating in this game is that I've had now 2 occasions where I'll hear the shiny sound and I'll drop everything, to sort of try to find where the shiny is, and I've just been unable to find the shiny. I think it's partially because of the way the city's laid out. Like, you know, you have different. You could be on the ground, for example, and maybe the shiny is like up in the air above you. Because it's like sort of a
Right.
cityscape, and there's not always clear visibility towards like where because Pokemon could be like, you know, on the buildings. It could be like around the corner. Because it's in an urban environment, it makes it more difficult to find the Pokemon. So I've heard the shiny sound 3 times now. I caught my first shiny, which is a Florges, not a Florges, a Floette. But I've had 2 shinies that I think got away from me because I heard the shiny sound, dropped everything, explored the area very thoroughly for like a good 20 minutes or so trying to find said Pokemon, but ultimately was unable to do so. And I think it's because it was a fleeing Pokemon, like I mentioned previously. But I kind of wish, I think because there's like not clear visibility, it makes it a bit more frustrating to try to locate the shiny Pokemon after you hear them spawn in. What else? But yeah, so that's pretty much my post game
I have a
experience
question,
so far.
actually.
Yes.
You were mentioning, one of the goals that you usually strive for is actually completing the Pokédex. Given this has such a limited vault, in terms of size, I mean, the Pokédex must be very limited. How many Pokemon are there even in this?
I want to say I think it's 200 something. It's a much smaller, handful.
That is actually, I like that actually.
It makes it more
Okay.
manageable.
Yeah.
A thing that I will say, which also brings me to my next point, is that the DLC is dropping in 4 days from now, actually, and that's probably going to introduce some more Pokemon, and that's going to hook me back into the game. Like so,
Yeah.
I did my little post game stuff, and I'm just kind of like in limbo until the DLC comes out.
Okay.
And we'll see what that has to offer. I also wanted to mention, I said in a previous episode that I dropped Delphox and Greninja from my team because their Mega Stones were tied to the online competitive play. So after I beat the game, I was like, you know what, let me try dabbling in this online mode to see what it's all about and get these little shiny stones. Not only are they tied to online play, but their distribution is for a limited time only. So I was like, I dropped on literally the last day that the Delphox and Greninja stones were available, and I was like, okay, I need to actually finally grind these out if I want to be able to get them. So I was curious how multiplayer or how competitive would work for the new battle system, and I absolutely hated it. It feels like the worst Mario Party game ever to me. So it's not like first off, what I didn't realize is that it's not your standard 1 versus 1 battle. It's 4 players competing at once. So every player
Alright.
has a team of 3 Pokemon. Everyone sends out 1 Pokemon at once, and your goal is to just you have a set time limit. I think it's like 3 minutes or something, and you're supposed to try to knock out as many other players' Pokemon as you can in that limit. If you get knocked out, there's like a 5-second or something cooldown where you're sort of like out of commission, but then you respawn, and you just sort of like beat each other up repeatedly for like 3 minutes, and it just feels very button mashy, very chaotic. It feels like there's less, actual skill in like determining your Pokemon's like moveset and everything, and more just like, trying to like kill snipe people. I don't know. I didn't like it. It just felt very chaotic.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was not fun for me. But fortunately, it was pretty simple I only had to do about 3 matches to be able to grind up enough to get to the rank S, which is what I need to do to get the Delphox Stone. Also, for some reason, the Greninja Stone, you have to reach rank Y, and for the Delphox Stone, you have to reach rank S. And I was like, why are we like sort of establishing this hierarchy that like Delphox greater than Greninja? Like, who decided that?
It's just
yeah.
canonical Delphox greater than Greninja.
Yeah.
So I did enough to get the Mega Stones for those starters, and then I will not be doing more competitive unless they tie some other stuff behind competitive play, and then I'll shamelessly do it because for the sake of completionism. Last thing to say about this game is I gave a shout out to one of my favorite new NPCs in a previous episode, Corbo. He's cool, style icon. Wanted to give another shout out to Jacente, who she is queen, another style icon. There's been some fun characters in this game, I have to say that. But yeah, that's been my experience with Pokemon Legends ZA so far, and I guess I'll update next when I play the DLC and figure out what that's all about.
Also, good choices for style there.
Is the DLC out?
Comes out on the 10th.
Oh, okay.
Mega Dimension.
I was like, this just came out. How is there DLC already? But
yeah, it feels like they kind of like like Forsake doing a post game set up to just like do like a DLC like 2 months, or maybe has it been 2 months? Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess 2-ish months after the original game came out. So I'm part of the
Yeah.
problem because I'm buying into it, but
Yeah.
oops.
I did
It's
a very similar thing with a game that I'm gonna be talking later this episode. Part of the problem
It's funny
and
because
whatnot.
with Breath of the Wild, I remember I got it after the two DLC packs had dropped, and I was like, I don't like that Zelda has DLC. This is so annoying. Like, this isn't the franchise for them to have DLC. Blah, blah, blah. And we played them, and I was like, okay, fine. And then Tears of the Kingdom came
Yeah.
out, and then there wasn't DLC for that one, and I was like, why not? There should be more to this.
Damn,
deserves
always
DLC.
complaining these
Why not?
gamers.
So it's just funny where I was just like, oh, remember how I hated this the first time? And everybody was like, there's gonna be DLC about it. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And they were like, no, we're done with this. I'm like, what do you mean? There should be more. So they'll get you either way.
Yeah.
There's no escape.
Mosey on to the retired section. Yeah, so basically I don't have much to say about these two actually. Arrows and Drop the Cat I have also dropped from my playing tab.
Yeah.
Cat continues
Bas-
to be dropped.
yeah.
Drop the cat.
Yeah. And it's basically the same story. I got to a level that was frustrating, and like these aren't serious games. They're just like mobile games that you just play until you're bored with them. So once I can't figure out a level, or I'm like, there's no way to beat a level without getting like their little stupid add-ons where you have to watch an ad just to get the add-on just to pass the
Oh
level.
boy.
Then I'm like, no, we're out of here. We're deleting this game. Arrows was fun, but sometimes it would be like, oh, you need another heart. Watch this ad, and then the ad wouldn't load. Then I would have to close the
Oh
game,
god,
go back
dude.
in, open the level, do the level again, and I was like, no, this is not
Yeah, that's
acceptable.
not worth
So
it.
yeah. So that one eventually got deleted as well. So both of those are gone from my list. And that's what I retired recently. Puzzle
Very
games.
reasonably. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Well, I retired 2 games as well. Well, okay. So for one, I've put down Shady Lewd Kart, the not safe for work kart racing game I've been talking about recently. Um, uh, because I feel like I did what I wanted so far, and this being still officially in early access, again, it is already a very complete experience, I would say. But the developer is very adamant about adding more content, and I think it is a good spot for me right now to pause this and then come back when it's actually complete, and then finish off whatever is new with this one. So no malice towards this game at all.
Essentially.
And the second one is also not a full retire. I will definitely go back to this one. This is Isopod. A webbed spin-off is the full title. This was the 3D platformer where you play a little roly-poly. Which I'm still aiming to finish, and I think the game is also just not very long, so maybe I'll just hop in spontaneously even before the next episode. But right now, it is just not what the gamer heart calls for. I have a couple other games right now that just take way more of my attention, and so I'm just making space on that playing tab a little bit, and this one will come back when it's time for this type of game.
Makes
That's
sense.
my two additions
Also,
to this section.
I just want to say, when I first saw this on the list today, I was reading it really quickly, even though you had talked about this game before. At first, for some reason, I read it as Isopod, a weebed adventure.
You just
Or a
invented
weeb
a new
spin-off.
language there.
I
A
did.
weep
Also,
adventure.
also, I don't have anything retired or paused, but I do have a small
Mhm.
note. Since I'm renting games from the library now and checking some stuff out, you might
Yeah.
actually see me use this section at some point to pause games when I have to return them to the library if I haven't beaten them yet.
Wouldn't that be wild? Would that be the first time we see you have something
No,
in the
I've
section?
retired one or two things that were like
Yeah.
really crappy before, but usually I'm a no-show.
breaking with tradition, I also have something to say for the retired/pause section this time around. And it's not like 100% retired pause, but as we're nearing the end of the year, I was doing some reflecting on, I guess, some of the games that I played over the year, or rather haven't played over the course of the year. So I think
Are we
I
retiring games we
possibly,
haven't played yet?
well, not exactly. So I think I've mentioned this in previous episodes, possibly, but towards in 2025, in an effort to sort of get through my backlog, I identified 5 games that I was like, you know what, these are the 5 games that I really want to prioritize beating. I want to make sure these are like my top 5 priorities. We got to the end of 2025, didn't end up beating any of those 5 games, and I was like, you know what, well, it's okay, we'll just roll them over into 2026. I'll get through them in 2026 for sure. And now that we're at the
Big
end of
mood.
2020, or sorry, wait, I said the years wrong. Okay, I'm looking into the future
Yeah.
already. Okay, in
Road
2024,
to the future.
I picked out these 5 games, didn't beat any of them in 2024, and I said, okay, I'll beat them in 2025 for certain. So looking back in my gameplay for this current year, now that we're in December of 2025, I realized I have played, not only have I not beaten any of these 5 games, I've played a grand total of 0 seconds of any of them. So I don't know what
Oh
it is
my
with me
god.
about, like, I have realized in recent years that I'm generally incapable of predicting what I'll be playing at any given
Yeah.
time. I've come to accept that. But for some reason, it seems that when I set out to play something, like when I make a conscious effort to, that I definitely want to play something, it's like the kiss of doom. It's like a curse of
Yeah,
death.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
hardest
yeah.
thing,
And
commitment.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, maybe I need to unpack what this says about me as a person. But I feel like it was worth mentioning as we're at the end of the year how I've failed to even touch any of the 5 games that I wanted to beat last year, this year.
Yeah.
I do, knock on wood. There's 2 that I feel like I'm probably gonna play at towards the beginning. I don't know. We'll talk about them when we get to them, if
What's
we ever
funny
get to
is
them.
probably
But
what's going to happen is now that you've given up, that's when you'll play them.
maybe, I don't know.
Surely.
Again, I
Surely.
do. There's also the caveat that it's been a light year for gaming for me in general. Like I typically beat about 24 games per year. I think this year I'm around 10 or so. So that also adds to it. Just maybe I'll finally get to them in 2026. Who knows? I guess watch this space.
You know, one thing you did bring up makes me just wonder a quick question. About how many games a year on average would you say that you beat?
Oh boy.
24.
Oh boy. 24.
Well, it's a good thing I have a site that can check that.
I
True.
recently noticed I am close to 100 for this year, so
I'm almost
Like
at 50. Yeah.
I think this year I've been around 31. I feel like most years I end up probably around, since I started kind of really getting hardcore back in the game anyway, like 25 to 30 a year. That's what I think I've kind of been at a lot of years. So it seems like me and Diallo, I guess, decently close for various years. 2023, I remember, sucked. I only beat like 10 games.
I mean, Itchmas
how
also
embarrassing.
skews this a lot,
Yeah.
But that's true. That's true. And I
It's
haven't
the
but
gotten as
small
much
games, yeah.
Itchmas action as you guys, so maybe that's part of it. I
yeah.
gotta get on the
But
Itchmas this
for
year
the
too.
since 2021, I've done at least 2021 I did 47, 2022 I did 53, 42, 48, and 46 so far this year. So I've
So
been
it
in
sounds
the
like
40s
45
range.
to 50. That's kind of where you
Yeah.
go.
So whatever
Oh
happened
man.
in 2021, probably Twitch, but yeah.
Right. All right, let's not dwell on what we have beaten in the past. How about we move on to what we are playing right now? Tell me about it, Roy.
Yes. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, so we gotta start with the tried, the true, the traditional, the Wordle, which the
Yeah.
streak is still going. 916 because I still need to do today's.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Wordle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just do it while I'm talking even. But
Yeah. I got it in 4 today.
nice. Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. I played like one map of the Iron Man run I've been pecking at, just kind of when I just was like, man, I want something to play while I'm listening to a podcast kind of thing. So there's not too much new to say there. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. I have not played a lot of that since last time. I beat like the first major boss before Tokyo Tower. got that cutscene, but I really didn't get much further because the main game I've been playing since I got it rented from the library is Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which I'm around
Damn.
5 hours in. That's taken up that I've had to do some non-gaming stuff. It's been a bit of a busy 2 weeks. So, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, it's been really fun. You know, obviously, it's a Kirby game. I don't think I need to explain about Kirby necessarily, but that does mean it's on the easier side. It's not like the Dark Souls of video games or anything. But, while it's easy, this game is fun. So, this is like the first 3D, like true 3D Kirby, because there's Kirby 64, which was like 2.5D.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd say I feel like another thing is this is more like Super Mario 3D World 3D than like
Yeah.
Super Mario 64 3D kind of thing, which you
Mhm.
don't see a ton of, but it's done pretty well. I think that the progression system is you find all these kidnapped Waddle Dees and you have to find enough before the boss, and that unlocks the boss kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think they do a good job being engaging, hiding some of them in obvious areas, hiding a few other ones in tricky areas. You're kind of always engaging in whatever area because there's almost always either like a hidden figurine kind of thing that you can just collect or a hidden Waddle Dee that you want to grab because it's progression and because they have like a checklist and stuff. Or some other like hidden doodad knickknack kind of thing. So you're always looking around the areas. You're always engaged for, is there a secret here? Am I, whatever? Is there a mission that, because one thing some people have criticized this game for is that there's every um level has like 3 secret missions. And you don't know the secret missions. Sometimes there's 4, I think. You don't know the secret missions until you've been the level. But I think that actually makes it more fun because most of the secret missions are well telegraphed, but it gives you a little bit of a thought that you're like on the lookout for what the secret mission could be.
Yeah.
Because it could be something like, oh, there's these lost ducks and you bring them to the mom. Or it could be something like there's a sign
Yeah.
and you can eat up a letter and you waddle over to the sign and you complete the sign. So you're always looking for like, what could this level's little secret be? And then at the end of the level, if you haven't gone it, but you've gone like another one, it'll show which ones you haven't gone. So that you can come back to the level if you want to backtrack and not necessarily be like, what am I doing?
Yeah, sounds like a reasonable system to me.
Yeah, I quite like it actually. I know that it was not a lot of people, there was some controversy with it, but I think it's worked out well. Um Evolving the copy abilities is fun. I have only to have the like one evolution for each one. You know, um, some of the evolutions do kind of just feel like, oh, this is previous ability but stronger. But some other ones actually change a bit how you play them, it feels like. So I prefer those ones. Bosses, pretty easy so far, but they're engaging enough kind of thing. I only just now locked like the Coliseum where there's a bunch of boss fights and Meta Knight, so I'm really not that far in. I'm like 4 complete like worlds quote unquote through. I'll probably need to rent this one again to fully beat it because I'm gonna be busy for the rest of the rental period, I think.
Mhm.
I'm enjoying this one a lot.
Funny that you rented this because I also rented this to play it because I knew it was going to be a short game. So this was back when I had Gamefly and I rented
Right.
it just to see what it was like. And I also had to re-rent it because I didn't finish it in the time period. Because I was like, I'm gonna need to like do some other game first. So I had to like send it back and I was like, I'll come back to that later. And when I got it back, it was like 3 or 4 months later. And I was like, okay, now I have to like bang through this and finish it before I send it back. But
Yeah, you can't just leave it unfinished.
yeah.
I guess Kirby in the rented land is the way to go.
That was like actually my first full Kirby game. Like I've had Kirby for the Game Boy, but like
No.
I never actually played all the way through. So I had no concept of like what was standard in the series and what was new to the series. So I was
Right.
like, like certain things would happen, and I was like, is this part of Kirby's world? Like nobody's talking about this online. This clearly must be like something that's just obvious. But there
Oh,
was
just
some
normal
wild
shit.
things in
All
it.
right. I'm guessing that you mean near the end of the game.
No, just in general,
Oh,
it's just like an apocalyptic world.
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
that whole vibe.
it is just Kirby in the post-apocalypse.
It's all a dream. All a dream, dog. I find this actually
It
funny
was
that you point this out. When I was planning, preparing to guess the game for this episode and looking through everybody's beaten games, I noticed that you only have one Kirby on there, and I like audibly went, how has Leah never played another Kirby game? That's
yeah.
crazy.
That is a bit surprising, honestly.
Yeah.
As
I
I had like it was my mom's technically for the Game Boy, and I don't know that she completed it, but I remember we had it for that, and that's what it was. It always bothered me that Kirby is now pink because on the cover of that he was white, and I was
yeah.
like, but what happened? He was white. Like, what's going on? Why is he pink now?
People
Explain. And
can
nobody ever.
transition. It's
Uh,
fine.
I am not gonna lie though. What happened? He was white. Would be a hell of a title.
God damn.
Yeah. So I remember being like,
I
is this something that happened in a storyline that somebody wants to explain? And just no, he's pink. I was like, okay. But I was like,
uh,
it was a little bit
I
of a Mandela effect for me because I was like, but he was like a ghost though, right? But yeah.
if you want the actual answer, the
There
art
is one?
in the huh?
There is an
Well,
answer?
there's not a plot answer. I mean, like
Oh.
the
Yeah.
answer outside of like like the is that as I recall, the person drawing the box art didn't know the color of Kirby because they had changed it a few times in development.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
even though they started on pink, it ended up being white. I do highly recommend Kirby 64 for Kirby games.
Same.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
we did mention it before. Yeah, that thing rocks.
It rocks. It's not super long, fairly easy, not hard to get running, obviously. So yeah. Then the last game I've been playing is a Fire Emblem fan game / ROM hack, which I'm playing with the same friend I beat Swordcraft Story with, which is Fire Emblem Cerulean Crescent. So I will note I played like 2 maps of this so far because that was just the amount of time we had to play together that day. And 2 maps into a Fire Emblem game means I only have so much to talk about. This is one of those ROM hacks, though, you can very much tell it's a ROM hack. Not even like, I mean, the writing too, but in the sense of how the game is designed. Like, if you play ROM hacks and fan games, you'll always find this as like a thing. Where the ROM hacks usually assume that if you're playing the ROM hack, you probably already know and are interested about whatever it is you're playing, because otherwise, how did you even find this?
Right.
So
Yeah.
like there's not a ton of onboarding. Game's very mechanically dense. There's that kind of game.
Makes
It's
sense, yeah.
not super difficult right now, but it's one of those things that's interesting when I play like Fire Emblem Sacred Stones and I go to this and I see the differences in game philosophy of how it's designed. But this seems fun. This is one. It's a ROM hack, but it is like full custom assets. There's like new sprites for everything. There's new animations for everything. They have a hand drawn map, which looks like an old Neopets MS Paint map, which is very cute. I like it. I
Oh
love that
god,
shit.
okay.
I remember playing NeoQuest so much as a kid. I'm like, let's go. Um, I heard a lot of good things about this ROM hack before starting it. So I'm interested where it goes, but I just don't have a ton to say 2 hours in and 2 maps in.
Yeah.
And that is as far, unless I'm forgetting some game, which I don't think I am, that's everything I've really been playing. I am hoping next time I'll have at least some Itchmas games on here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the latest when we actually do our Itchmas episode, of course. That's your deadline.
You never know. Last
Okay.
time half of them, I'm like, well, I ain't played anything.
Yeah.
Very, very sad. Very sad. Leah, how about you continue? Because I've already said stuff for every category so far, so maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I can go. Like I mentioned a little bit before, I did Wordle today. I got it in 4. Um, which is basically like get it in 1 because my first 3 are usually just like words that I just throw at it to see what letters I can get out of like the most out of like all the vowels and like um common consonants. And then like the last 3 is really like when I start working with whatever I've got so far.
That's when she
Um
really activates.
yeah.
When all the clues are
So
already revealed, sure.
yeah, I'm just like, all right, I have 3 guesses to figure out from what's here. There's been a few times where like sometimes it's like a double letter, and I'm like, well, shit, I don't know what I'm
Well,
doing now, because
what are we doing now?
yeah. Um. So yeah, done that. Myrtle, I have leveled up because now, since it is December, I have the Merry Myrtle book. So that has 25 puzzles, so I've been doing them very slowly um as the days progress in December. So I guess it's technically like a advent calendar that I'm doing with Myrtle books now. But I did that. I'm working on the one of the Myrtle Junior books and also doing the daily ones, which I don't know that I did today. So I still have to do
Well,
that
there's no
actually.
time like the present.
Yeah. Um Tiny Bird Garden Deluxe. I'm still playing. I think I've unlocked about 30 birds at this point. I haven't really been playing it too much over the last week because it was sort of busy out here. Um, but still, I've forgotten how the nursery works. But like, there is a nursery, so I assume that you do raise more than one bird at a time, or like more than one bird. But my first baby bird's still in the nursery, so I'm like, do you eventually leave, or are you just gonna be a baby for the entirety of this game? I don't remember. But I've also unlocked of the birds that I've met that have come to this garden of mine, um, I've unlocked all of their first treats, which they all have like 3 favorite treats and 3 favorite toys that you can put out for them. So you kind of just have to guess because they all have like little themes to them. Like some of them, like one's a goth bird, one's a clown bird. So like,
A
uh,
clown bird.
yeah. So they
God.
have different ones. There's like 3
Much like
different
a
ones that are
clownfish.
like. There's like
God.
3 different ones that are based on eggs. Um, there's one I think that's like based on like a celebrity bird online. It's a cockatiel, but which is funny because I follow a lot of cockatiel accounts online and I don't recognize this bird. So I was like, who's this? Um,
Oh boy.
so yeah, so I've unlocked most of their favorites. Um, but sometimes I don't have the currency in this is feathers. So like as they leave, if they enjoyed your garden, they leave you feathers, and you can have like use the feathers to buy them more treats and stuff to put out. So sometimes I don't have enough treats for whoever's in the garden, and I'm like, I'm not gonna just throw whatever at them and just like lose out and them hating it and not getting more feathers out of it. So sometimes I do cheat and look up like what they do like and see like what I can afford and be like, all right, here, you get this. Um,
You heard it
so
here
yeah.
first. Leah cheats the bird game.
Leah probably just
In the
asked
idle
her
bird game.
actual pet birds for tips.
Oh
I
yeah,
imagine.
true,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
What are you
So
guys
it
feeling?
would be kind of nice if like I know that this is just kind of like a whatever game, but it would be nice, I feel, if it did sort of that thing where like different birds have different sorts of favorite seeds. Like cardinals will eat different things than like an insect bird or whatever, or an insect eater bird would. So it would be cool if the game had a little bit more variety in that, where it's just like, in order to get these certain birds, you need to have these certain insects or these certain seeds or like whatever sweat blocks
That
out or
would be
whatever,
neat.
instead of it just being like, here's a seed for them to eat. They're birds, they'll eat it. Like, not all birds eat seeds. But, I understand that I think this was like their first game that they put together or whatever back on Twitter back in the day when they were like, oh, we're making a mobile game. So I understand that probably was not in their scope, but like as a bird nerd, I would appreciate if the bird game was a little bit more uh
A little more
that had a
bird.
little bit more depth.
Right.
But yeah. Um My other idle games, Tory Note and Travel Frog. Um, basically the same thing, still kind of just happening. I haven't really played
That's
so
the
many
idle
of these.
game
Like,
core.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I've never played many idle games at the same time before. And it's like they're not like what's happening in the game. It's happening. Like there's nothing happening for me to like describe. They're not
Yeah.
fascinating games to like talk about.
That is how they work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like I don't know. So that's I'm kind of just like lumping them together because I'm like I don't know what else there is to say. Um
That's true.
and similarly, Nitsal, I'm up to level 50, and the logic puzzles. I think I just finished the July daily puzzles in that one. Those have a little bit more of input from me than the other games, but there's that. Now we've come to Professor Layton and the last Spectre, which again, I've been playing so everything else on this list has pretty much been like such an idle game. It's nice to have something that has like more input for me to do in my
An
mornings.
actual game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Even though like technically it can be considered a visual novel and still for me it's just like I read so fast that I'm just constantly just like, pressing the screen because like I can read it before it like finishes like completing whatever it was supposed to write on the screen. So most of the game you if you just see me in the house, I'm just like tap, 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 tap. And it looks like I'm skipping, but I'm like reading it so fast that I'm like, let's go already. I want to get to the next puzzle. So
Hmm.
I have Luke is in this game, spoiler alert for this game from like 10 years ago. Um
Yo,
so
Luke's in
Luke
this
is now
game?
yeah. So
Not Luke.
so he has shown up. I just I haven't played Professor Layton in so long, but I do love this series. So it's funny that I what like September or August, I was like, I'm gonna play all of the Max Payne games in 1 week, and I have not touched those since. But I feel like if I am going to complete a trilogy this year, it might be the Professor Layton ones. Like it's been
Mhm.
3 weeks and I'm still on this one, so maybe I won't finish all of them. Maybe I'll just start maybe I'll finish this one and then the next two can be for next year or whatever. But um we were promised one for the Switch and probably it'll be for Switch 2 at this point. But you know, I
Could
do want
be,
to like at least catch up on the backlog for before the next one comes out. And there's also the mobile game that I have downloaded and it keeps reminding me I downloaded it. I'm like, not yet. I haven't finished the other one first.
wait.
Um
Also,
yeah.
the other lane could just be like Switch 1 plus Switch 2, like Metroid Prime 4 was and stuff. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, it depends if it comes out like in 2 years or so then maybe, but they said that it was coming out like 3 years ago and we still haven't heard
Yeah.
anything new about it. So at this point, I feel like if it doesn't come out in the next 2 years, it'll just be like a Switch 2 exclusive at that point.
I mean,
Cause
that's probably fair too.
yeah, so I feel like by the time they get around to it, I'm just like, it's just gonna be a Switch 2. We'll see. By then maybe I'll have the money to buy a Switch 2. Maybe that'll be the game that I buy a Switch 2 for. Who knows?
Don't do it. Don't do it. I disapprove.
Yeah. And now we come to the last one, which if you wanted more ranting from me, you can get it now.
I also
Ooh,
disapprove
this is
of this coming up. My God.
is this a 50% discount?
so Funko Fusion, it sucks. I think we all knew that it sucked.
Yeah, I bet it does.
I knew that it was gonna suck. People have been complaining about it since it came out, and I got it for like $8 because I knew it was gonna suck, and I still wanted to try it, but I knew like if I have to retire it, $8 is less than like $50 retire, you know. So
True.
I am gonna get through it for my own sake, but
Oh God,
it's
come
the
on.
sort of game that makes you start to wonder if you're a gamer. Because
Oh God, the existentialism.
like it doesn't tell you things that you should know, but like there's things about it that that you should assume based on the concepts of the game. You start off and you tells you choose a character and you see like all the Funkos are lined up by like franchise, and then they have like each character in each franchise or whatever.
Mhm.
Some of them are DLC, some of them aren't. There was only like a few that I knew of because they had like Hot Fuzz was in there, um, Scott Pilgrim was in there, Jurassic World was in there, He-Man was in there, and a few others. So I was like, all right, I'll pick one. They don't explicitly tell you anything is different about these characters. Now, if you've played a game that's close to this, which is like any of the Lego games, you know that the characters have different abilities. Like Jedi characters have the Jedi things, and like the hobbits are small and they can crawl into things. Chris Pratt can talk to dinosaurs, whatever.
Right.
So so that sort of thing you understand within the concept of these genre of games, of these multiverse games. But they haven't said anything like that. They just give you the characters, you pick one, that's it. And then they're like, oh, look, when you want to switch a character, you have to walk over to the box and switch them. I'm like, cool. Why would I want to do that? You don't explain anything. Now you know from Lego that maybe that'll be something down the line, but they haven't said that yet. This is the tutorial. This is when you should tell me that. So I was like, I'm not gonna assume that it works the way that Lego does because you haven't told me that it works like that yet, even though like technically I do know.
Right.
Get into the beat the first tutorial boss or whatever that starts off the storyline. Okay, fine. Get into the first world, and then I spent 30 minutes running around in the Scott Pilgrim world looking for a guitar. Scott Pilgrim, they have a band. There should be a guitar somewhere.
True.
You're in
True.
a gig space, there's a stage, and there's drums. A guitar should be somewhere. So I'm running all over the damn place looking for like all the different little, they have like, oh, you can get health power-ups here. You can this power-up here. If you get enough of these coin things, you can put them in this vending machine and get a thing. So I'm running around being
I
like,
see
what?
where
I
this
have
going.
completed everything here. I don't know what's going on. I look it up and it was like, oh, you have to switch to somebody who has a guitar as their weapon.
Interesting.
yeah.
Why wouldn't you tell me that
Full decision.
when I'm choosing a character and then telling me, oh, to switch them, go to their box? Tell me that, oh, different characters have different things in the tutorial. Why would you not tell me this? So I was like, all right, I see how this game is going to go. But then afterwards, I'm like, maybe I should have known that because I knew that Lego games do that. Why wouldn't I assume that it would be like that this way? They didn't tell me, so why would I? So it was one of
This
those
truly
things
is
where
a game that makes you question reality.
yeah, like I started being like, well, I was like, I should have known that, and I did know that. Why didn't I make that part of my logic in this game? But like
Oh my
again,
god.
the tutorial should be teaching you how the game works, and it didn't. So, and then again, there was the second part of another level when I went. I was like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And I look it up, and it was like, oh, just go to here. And I'm like, if this whole
That's
game is gonna be
awesome.
like that, this is crazy.
The
Like,
whole game is just
So why do you want to finish this?
it's the principle of the matter.
yeah.
I
It's only like 14 hours, so it's not that bad. Very slowly over time.
14? Did you say 14?
Yeah, it's
14,
only 14 hours, bro.
That is
That's
not
a
little
lot
in
more than
my
I would invest
eyes.
on a game that I'm
Yeah.
hating. Like, you get 14 minutes,
So
maybe.
we'll see. I might be too frustrated over time to like actually finish the whole thing, but we'll see. I'm gonna give it like that was just the one level. I was like, maybe other ones are better. Who knows?
No,
Sure.
no. Let's not beat around the bush. I don't think it's gonna get better.
Oh boy.
So yeah,
oh
so
boy,
I
oh
mean,
boy.
there's been multiple games that I've played that are RPGs, that are puzzle games. Like I do know the concepts that go into these games. So like when I get to a game like this, it's like, am I the stupid one? No, it's the game that's wrong because I'm pretty sure that it's like not me. We'll see. We'll see how long this keeps going for me. But
Place your bets now,
Let's
listeners.
see how long the funk continues. My prediction is next time retired/paused.
Yeah, I
From
think so
confusion.
too. I hope so.
I hope for Leah's sake that this is retired next time.
you're gonna open the document next, and
I
it's
mean,
just gonna be the first thing
I
that's
am
there.
interested. Which actually reminds me, I still need to watch Alpha Rad play this game.
It's probably all you need to engage with this thing. Yeah.
That's it for
Yeah.
what I've been playing lately.
My condolences.
Well, now that we're past that fucko fusion moment.
I've got a bunch of games, none of which are making me sad or angry, thankfully.
Are you sure
The
about
bar is
that?
underground at this point.
Not yet, at least. I'm starting again with the games that I've already mentioned previously. Magic the Gathering Arena is still one of my go-to casual games. Previously, I mentioned that I was grinding out some in-game currency to unlock the Mabel Companion, which was Companion of the Month in November and only available for a limited time. I managed to win enough matches throughout the month to unlock her. And now I have like a sword wielding little mouse character on my battlefield every time I play a game against somebody. So that was worth
That
it.
is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That is pretty epic. Still, I think real life Magic, though, paper Magic is still taking more of my time, actually, which I really appreciate. Had a bunch of great moments at the local game store recently as well. Actually, got some W's in with my stupid gimmicky deck that I'm
Hell yeah.
jokingly using. So that was very fun recently. But that's all for Magic. I'm also playing still Pigeon Simulator as my go-to co-op game with my main co-op friendo. Still an anomaly extraction game where you roam levels as a pigeon and try to extract as many weird things as you can to reach certain goals. The gameplay loop is just a solid casual thing to just chit chat with your friend and just get some stuff done, and then you all go to bed. That's it. Still good stuff for now. Also, still playing Puyo Tetris, which I still think is a fantastic game. I have kind of slowed down on the campaign though, because other also very exciting games have, stumbled into my worldview. Not taking my main gaming time right now, but I am very excited to put more hours into that as well. The new games on my dock, though, there's one major one which is taking most of my time recently. I have purchased for way too much money, pretty spontaneously, even though I wanted to actually wait for a better sale, but whatever. I've fallen victim to my urges and purchased Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, the very, very recent Sonic Racing
And
game.
there's our Hatsune Miku game of the podcast.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of them. I got two on my list actually, but this is the first. Yeah. So this is where I am part of the problem. I bought the overpriced like digital deluxe edition of this bullshit. It was on sale, so I didn't like pay full fucking 70 or 80 bucks or what nonsense they ask for this. I did pay still 50, which I genuinely don't remember when I paid this much for a single game. So this very much a rare occurrence for me. But I was looking at this game for a good while now. I was really, really in the mood for this. I love Sonic Racing Transformed. And so I just said, man, fuck it, treat yourself with one fucking actual big purchase in a while and like just get it. And it's been genuinely
I mean, it's
like
good to do that sometimes.
yeah, and it has generally been like I didn't regret it really. It's a very, very fun game. I've spent a lot of time with it already. I was, to be fair, at first a little bit disappointed that this isn't as much of a like a Sega crossover thing like Sonic Racing Transformed. Because that game, like the whole character roster and all the race tracks were all spread or like taken from different Sega franchises, which I found very exciting, especially since a lot of those franchises you don't see much in like the modern gaming landscape. This one is, of course, like 99% Sonic the Hedgehog, like actual focus on Sonic the Hedgehog, which is still fine, just not as exciting on a first glance. But actually playing the game, putting time into this, it completely like not redeemed, but like it did not disappoint at all. I'm having a lot of fun with the racing mechanics. It feels very good once you get into the physics of it all. I really enjoy that you have all these different racing archetypes with different vehicles that you can pick depending on how you want to play through it. I really, really enjoy the upgrade system they have where you can um, unlock slots for different like permanent power ups that you can strategically place for your playstyle. I love this sort of thing, especially because this is a kart racing game with the obligatory, item chaos, which I actually do not care for. So when I have the option, I very often like tend to focus on a game style where I can avoid all of the item stuff and just like
Makes sense.
maximize the speed and defense of my stuff, and I can really do this here with all these upgrade options they give. My main character, this is the most important part about this, and Roy has already like mentioned this. My main character is of course Hatsune Miku, one of the rare non-Sega characters on the roster. They have the hoverboards that were originally in Sonic. There was like a Sonic hoverboard racing game like way back in the day. And they got the hoverboards as like its own vehicle archetype in this game.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, I don't remember what the name was, but they have like the hoverboards or from that as an archetype for the vehicles here.
There was Free Riders, and there
Yes.
was the other one.
Air Riders, I think, was the other one. Or
Air
something.
Riders, that's it.
Yeah.
Free
And I'm
Riders
playing
Air.
Hatsune Miku on one of those hoverboards. And like Hatsune
my
Miku on a
God.
hoverboard is one of the most radical fucking visuals I've ever seen. It's just so fucking cool.
I can't deny that.
Yeah, it's dope as heck. I did already like a main completion, a regular main completion. I got gold on all the championship cups, whatever, to get the credit roll on default speed class. But I am having like enough fun that I wanna like get gold on the higher speed classes and like put more time into this rival system where they have specifically beat higher difficulty AI, NPC enemies throughout the races that you unlock. I think if you clear them all, you get like a supersonic character in your roster and whatever, like that sort of stuff. Just a bunch of little extra challenges to do as you replay these championships on different difficulties. And that's where I'm gonna spend some more time in to get, my main plus completion a bit cleaned up.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to this is where I'm part of the problem because I did buy the digital deluxe stuff that comes with the season's pass and all of that awful nonsense. I am looking forward to the content that they are adding in the weeks or months to come because it includes more characters and racetracks. But I do because I don't often purchase this sort of stuff. I do feel a bit ashamed of that because that whole structure of releasing things like that consciously like stretched out is awful, and I'm not proud of having paid for that. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
sometimes you have to sin for Sonic, and that's okay.
I do have to say real quick. All I was gonna say is I've got to say that Matt's increasing foray into the Hatsune Miku stuff from where he started to now has been one of the funnier storylines of this year's podcast.
It is kind of funny, and it doesn't stop here either, as we will see in a minute. But the Hatsune Miku stuff isn't the only thing that I'm that's going on right now. There's also the Sonic stuff itself.
Yeah.
With Sonic Adventure 2 recently, and now this racing game, I'm on the verge of, this rabbit hole for Sonic games again. I've already purchased a bunch of other Sonic
Ooh,
games,
that's
and
exciting.
there's a high likelihood I'm playing some of the retro ones as well, the 2D ones.
I like
The
it.
whole I've watched videos about the history of Sonic games and all of that stuff right now. Like it's fascinating, and all
It
just
is.
pretty much just because Diallo made me play Sonic Adventure 2, and now the racing game is hitting me as well. It's kind of
That's
a perfect storm right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's the
mean,
beauty of doing the video game swap. Like I had a similar experience in a Discord server that I'm in. We have a yearly tradition of recommending video games to each other. And the first year that I participated, I was recommended Kingdom Hearts, which is a game that I've been curious about for quite some time. And then within a span of I think 2 or 3 years, I've gone from never having played a Kingdom Hearts game to being totally caught up on the series.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love when video game exchanges or like the recommendation exchanges can unlock sort of like this new exploration for us. So I'm happy that you're on this journey.
Yeah,
yeah, that's
for
the
sure.
shit is when it does stuff like that. Which I do gotta just point out, we gotta get on Matt's level with our video game exchanges, because Matt's already finished his. We still haven't.
Has nobody
true.
here finished their Oh.
I still
Well, okay,
need
no.
mine is
To
very
be
short,
fair,
but
Sonic Adventure 2, there's an argument that I actually didn't beat it because I only did one of the, I guess, 3 story
I mean,
campaigns.
you do need
So
to go back and get more of those campaigns done.
I will not.
You gotta.
But that's the thing as well. Like, I am very interested and kind of fond of Sonic at this point. But aside from the racing games, I haven't actually yet played a Sonic game I truly enjoyed. I'm still looking for that one. But I am
All I'm,
motivated to find it.
all I'm saying is you gotta beat the final hazard.
I will not. I'm sorry, but I will not touch Sonic Adventure 2 again. I will not. I am,
What if they
however,
had?
like I
What if it turned out Hatsune Miku was in the game?
no. No, I would know. I would know if that
She's
was the
not.
case.
She's not. She's not.
I will say though, when I was talking about Sonic Adventure 2, I was saying that I would probably never try another 3D Sonic and just stick to the 2D ones. I only recently learned that Sonic Frontiers is a thing, and it actually
Oh
kind of
yeah,
looks neat. I might
yeah.
give that
Sonic
a try at
Frontiers.
some point. Yeah,
That's one worth trying. I still need to beat it myself.
yeah. So that might be happening someday. But for now, it's gonna be racing and 2D games, I think. Um, so that is one Hatsune Miku game, obviously. I I have a similar other game here, because I started, playing, Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythm Festival, which is, a more recent title in a very long-running Japanese arcade, franchise, a drumming rhythm game franchise. Um, I remember hearing about the arcade machines where you, of course, actually drum on some sort of plastic drum to hit the notes. I've been hearing of that for years, I remember. But I think like these home releases only started popping up like in the past decade or so. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like that. And this release is, easily available on Steam. So I got this recently. And the most important part about this journey, they had 5 Hatsune Miku DLC packs, and of course, I purchased them all. And that was also immediately the first thing that I did play through all of the Hatsune Miku tracks. And this one, if I'm going back and comparing this to the Hatsune Miku VR rhythm game, this one
Right.
actually has a good goddamn track list with actual recognizable songs, including a bunch of songs by the artist Supercell, who did a bunch of, I think, very popular Hatsune Miku tracks, including World Is Mine, which is a favorite of mine, and also, I think, one of the most famous Hatsune Miku songs, which I have
Right.
dearly missed in that stupid VR game. So, this is making up for my, it's fulfilling my Hatsune Miku rhythm needs right now. And of course,
Good.
other than that, there's non-Hatsune Miku songs in the track list as well with this game that
Okay.
I've been enjoying as a very fun casual playthrough. I think there's a sort of storyline or whatever to eventually hit a credit roll, but it's so light and so inconsequential that it's not really a focus. I'm just playing through all the songs that I have in there. And
Right.
even the default song list, I feel like has a bunch of weird or like surprising choices. It has like a song from Frozen 2. It has the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack. There's stuff like
Okay.
Blackpink,
Yeah,
of
those are a
course,
bit odd.
which fits. Yeah, there's the original season 1 Digimon
Yo,
theme and
the
stuff.
original Digimon song.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Digimon. Let's go.
Yeah, I was kind of like excited about some of these tracks, but some actually made me scratch my head. I don't know where they pulled
Hmm.
these from. But yeah, like it's just a good, solid rhythm game. It's also, I would say, very basic compared to a lot of other rhythm games, which doesn't mean it's easy, especially not on the harder difficulties, which I'm not actually even gonna, you know, touch and try to master or whatever.
Hmm.
But it is
Right.
simple in a sense that there's really not a lot of buttons that you press. and that's actually
Mm.
nice. Very, very intuitive that way.
I was gonna ask.
Um,
This is my favorite arcade game. And I'm curious about what the home version is like. So I'm assuming you're playing it on just like a controller. Is there any? Do you know if there's
yes,
like a drum sort of like accessory that you can
yes.
purchase, or is it? Mm,
So I haven't seen the actual object, but the game always asks me if I want to play with keyboard, gamepad, or an actual drum. So I must assume the drum exists somewhere and is supported by
mm.
this, which
Right,
is
won't make sense otherwise.
definitely cool. And it's probably like the actual drum would probably be, I would imagine, the best way to play this. But the gamepad works just fine as well, thankfully. Yeah, but yeah, no, it seems like a very polished release, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. So that's my two Hatsune Miku games this week. I hope y'all are doing your efforts to step up your Miku games because this train needs to keep rolling until we are the official Miku
Sadly,
podcast.
I gotta level up my Miku.
Yeah.
Well, that does remind me. I forgot to mention. So in the Pokemon Legends CA Mega Dimension DLC, they've recently announced that there's going to be a new Mega Evolution of Lucario who looks exactly like Hatsune
Oh,
Miku.
Oh yes, I
I've
saw that.
somebody sent this to me. Yeah. I saw that.
So I guess maybe I'll be playing a Hatsune Miku game next time.
2026, the year of Miku. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you. Good. So the final game on my list before I give up the mic here. I today played 2 whole rounds of Casual Worms Revolution against Abatage, previous co-host of this very podcast. And Worms Revolution is, when I talked about Worms 2 earlier, I was saying that I'm interested in playing some more single player campaigns of other more recent Worms games. This Worms Revolution was already on the top of my list for that. And I think this little like casual deathmatch competition kind of underlined that as well, that interest. Because Worms Revolution is one of the few Worms games that actually try to properly innovate on the gameplay. A lot of the Worms games are, more of the same, but with more polish, but without, actually adding new mechanics very much. Worms Evolution is one where they actually tried to implement physics objects and water physics, where the worms can drown in and whatever in this in the battlefield environment, which is not stuff that has ever shown up in the 30 years prior to the Worms games. This also has a sort of class system where different worms can have different abilities, which has not ever been a thing in other Worms games. So this is one that sticks out a bit, and I'm very curious to actually play through this campaign at some point. I don't know if that's already right now. Again, I only picked this up spontaneously for a bit of multiplayer. But this is probably gonna be the Worms game that I will pick up next when I find the spot for it in my, playing schedule. Um,
Makes
and that's
sense.
all I'm saying about that for now. So that's all I've been playing. What have you been playing, Diallo?
I too have been playing a racing game, and I too have been playing a Kirby game. That's right, folks. I have been playing Kirby Air Riders. This is a
Hell
game
yeah.
I inadvertently bought this one on launch day. So like I mentioned previously, I haven't been doing the best at keeping up with the gaming news this year. So I knew this game was announced, and I was vaguely aware that it was going to be coming out at some point. But I didn't know exactly like what the release date would be. But one evening, I went on Twitch and I saw a lot of people were streaming this game, and I was like, oh my goodness, and I went to purchase it immediately. The reason that I was so quick to buy it was because I loved the original game. I have very fond memories of sinking hundreds of hours into the original with friends and family. Also, some memories of some arguments that broke out as a result of the multiplayer-ness of said game. But it's a game that is the original Kirby Air Ride is a game that's very near and dear to my heart. And so I was very excited for this game, and I'm happy to report that upon playing it, it definitely it captures all the charm of the original, so everything that you know and love, just like more upgraded, more polished, which is basically everything that I could hope for a sequel to this game. So basically, if you are unfamiliar with Kirby Air Ride, the Kirby Air Ride series, the way that I would describe it, it's kind of like a Kirby racer game meets like a Mario Party game, in that there's 4 different modes. The first mode is air ride, just sort of like your standard, racing mode. There's lots of different vehicles you can choose from, which are known as stars in this game. You have top ride mode, which is a kind of top down. Everyone is like a little miniature version of themselves, and it's a top down
Oh
racing
yeah.
mode. This is my least favorite mode, I have to say. I feel like the controls for this one are the weakest, and I don't know, it's not satisfying for me. But that's
I've
mode
heard
number
that's most
two.
people's least favorite mode. It usually feels like.
Yeah. The third mode, and I think this is the reason why this game has achieved such legendary status, is City Trial mode, my personal favorite mode. The way that this one works is that you and up to 16 other players, or sorry, up to 16 players total. In the GameCube game, it was up to 4 players, but upgraded hardware this time around now we can support 16 players. It's got two different phases, I guess. So in the first phase, you drive around the city for a set time. The default is 5 minutes, but you can set it longer, up to 7 minutes, or you can do shorter. So you drive around this vast city, this vast and gorgeous city map. You're driving around your little character, picking up all these little power-ups for your vehicle. You can also swap around to different power-ups. Sort of like you have kind of like free roam for the first time limit to just ride around, get the vehicle that you want, collect as many power-ups as you can, perhaps antagonize other players. And then also there will be occasionally random events that happen during the course of that time. So maybe like meteors will start falling down from the sky, or stuff will randomly catch on fire, or a little mini boss will appear and you and the other players have to work to try to take them down. So you have fun sort of just hopping around the city, upgrading your vehicle, doing shenanigans for 5 minutes. And after you hit the time limit, you get transported to a little mini game. You have a couple different mini games to choose from. Or I guess in the original, you got randomly sorted into a mini game, and in this one, you have a couple different mini games that you can vote for to which one you want to go to, and you have to use the machine that you've been building in the first phase to sort of complete whatever challenge it is in the second mini game stage. So it could be maybe a race, maybe a boss battle, maybe a little mini game where you have to collect as many food items as possible, a mini game where you have to just kind of like a Splatoon-esque turf war kind of thing, where you have to hit these buttons and make them switch them to your color and try to have the most buttons at the end of the game. But so you have the first phase, you collect all your power-ups. The second phase is where you actually play the mini game, and whoever wins the mini game is who wins the city trial. And it's hard to explain just how addictive this mode is, but trust me, it is. There's a reason why I have hundreds of hours in the original game. It's very satisfying, very fun. Also new this time around is a single player campaign called Road Trip. So it's a single player story campaign. It actually has not only is it a single player mode, but it has a fleshed out story with voice acting, I must add. Pokemon could never.
It's not a Pokemon
Oh my
game
God.
after all.
But I was really surprised because I was Googling how to unlock some cosmetics for some of the characters in this game. And as I was Googling, I came across this guide that was like, oh, warning, this guide has heavy story spoilers. I was like, wait, story spoilers in a Kirby racing game? Like, what do you mean?
That is wild.
Right? But there's the full-fledged story this time around. I haven't gotten that far in the road trip mode, so I don't have too much to say about it this time around, but it seems like it's going to be very interesting. It's very reminiscent of the World of Light story in Smash Ultimate, which I will touch on a bit more later. There's also, online play is a big component for this game, and they have introduced some rotating online events this time around. I haven't actually done any yet, but I think there's currently, I missed the first one. It was Thanksgiving weekend and I was doing other stuff, but there's currently a second one going on, some sort of team battle event, I think, that I might try a little bit after we finish recording today's episode. Lots of fun. For every mode, there's 150 different achievements you can unlock, plus there's 150 for online play as well, so that's 750 total achievements that you can get. Pretty exciting, and they're presented in this kind of grid, and whenever you unlock one, if you meet the requirements for an achievement, for example, it'll unlock that achievement, and then it'll also kind of not completely fill in, but it'll give you
An idea.
a little bit of color in the adjacent squares, and you can hover over them to read what you need to do to unlock those achievements. So it's kind of rewarding loop of you unlock some achievements and get to see what you need to do to unlock other ones, and then rinse and repeat. And it's very fun, as you're going through each of these trials, seeing what you end up unlocking at the end. There's a couple new vehicles this time around that have been really fun for me. There's the Transform Star, which can transform you're not just like racing on the ground in this game, you can also fly, and the transform star can shift between bike mode and a gliding mode, which has been pretty cool. There's the vampire star, which can bite your opponents as you charge it up, which is a lot of fun. And and there's hop star, which, as the name suggests, can hop and do little nice smashing landing attacks. I like those a lot. What's also new is that you have a full roster of characters this time around. So not just Kirby, but you have Meta Knight, DDD, Chef Kawasaki, some other favorites from the Kirby series, and some new characters as well, I believe. And you can unlock different cosmetics and skins for them all. And each character has a unique ability, kind of like a final smash, where if you build up your special meter enough, you can do different things with each character, perform some sort of like special attack, which is really fun to use in the course of the gameplay.
I've got a question, Diallo.
Sure.
Have you joined the Rick agenda, or are you mainly a different character?
Oh, how did you know? Yeah, so Rick is indeed my main. Rick is, the Kirby's Camster friend, introduced in Kirby's Dreamland. I'm a Rick main, and my preferred vehicle, Star, my literal ride or die.
I mean, Rick seems like he's the breakout, so.
I mean, he's a cutie pie.
I
love Rick. I also love playing as Chef Kawasaki, Lololo, and Lalala. Each character has different stats too, and it doesn't seem like I think each vehicle has different stats, and I feel like the vehicle stats make more of a difference than the actual character stats do. But I've had a lot of fun, just like trying out. When I'm playing a character, it's mostly for cosmetic reasons, like not because I'm trying to min max my stats. I just like seeing cute hamster destroy people on a little warp star.
Cute hamster go fast.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about this game is that they have the chef. People were customizing the chef.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I missed this.
Yeah, so people have. I guess there's like a meme online of like what he's wearing under his apron. So people have been changing him to have like the tiniest little bikini on.
Oh my
under
god.
his So Nintendo had to go in and like start deleting some of the custom things because they were like people were getting a little too
a little too spicy.
a little too creative with their customizations on him.
Yeah, a little too spicy is a funny way to put it, because his special attack is actually throwing spicy curry at other racers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've touched on this a couple times, but you can definitely feel this is a Sakudai game because it feels like it shares a lot of DNA with Smash Ultimate. For example, the menus, like at first glance, if you looked at this and thought it was a Smash game, you could be forgiven because they look visually very similar. The menus are pretty similar. The announcer voice sounds very similar. The animations when you're breaking another player's vehicle is very similar to like sort of like the final KO animation that you get in Smash Ultimate. The winning menu looks very similar. Sound effects are very similar. A lot of like the shared DNA, which I like because Smash Ultimate was fantastic and Kirby Air Ride is also fantastic. So a marriage of two fantastic games. I'm down for that.
It makes sense too because when Super Smash Bros. Brawl came out, various parts of that game took like visual stuff from the first Kirby Air Ride.
Right. Oh, and also, like I mentioned previously, the single player campaign feels very similar to like how the single player mode works in Smash, where you sort of like are doing like a series of smaller challenges, and then you have like a little mini boss at the end of that, and rinse and repeat for a couple different stages as you progress through the story. Some other new things this time around are you have this customizable driver's license, which is fun. You can unlock different backgrounds for it, and there are little stickers on, and give yourself a custom title. My current title is Clueless Enthusiast, which is one of like the default. I think those are both the default words that you can use, but Clueless is my favorite movie, so I wanted to give like a little shout out to Clueless. I don't know if anyone's interpreting my driver license that way. It probably just sounds like I'm a clueless person, but I don't know. I thought it was a nice play on words. And as you race with other players, you collect their license as well, and you can sort of like look through the gallery of all the different licenses that you've obtained. And there's also a little mode called My Machine, which lets you customize the existing stars with your own custom like patterns, accessories, stickers, etc. And there's an online marketplace where you can share the machines that you've created and sort of purchase machines that other people have created. And people have done some really creative stuff like that. So I'm imagining that could be where some of like the Chef Kawasaki bikini stuff is happening. Maybe I thought people have done like a lot of like Pokemon inspired stars. I bought a paper star, which is I think another one of the new stars that was customized to look like Ashley from WarioWare. So a lot of really creative ideas out there. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this game. It's been fun playing it with friends. Definitely going to be sinking some more time into the single player to see where the story takes us. I'm definitely expecting this one to rack up several hours as well. Oh, I will also say, one of the local bars in my area has a weekly video game night, and I brought this where people can like bring in their consoles and everything,
Oh,
and you can have people play with you. So I brought this
Nice.
to one of the video game nights. It was a smash hit. Everyone was going crazy for Kirby. So I've been slowly
As
on a
they
mission to sort of like
should.
convince as many friends as possible to buy this game. So I'm a little Kirby evangelist. I definitely gets my recommendation. Loving it, and I expect to continue to love it. And we'll definitely have more to say about it in future episodes.
hell yeah.
Nice.
But that's all that I have for now.
This and also like DK Bonanza. These have been the two games that are like, man, I wish I could afford a Switch too.
They are solid. Well, I can't speak to DK Bonanza yet, but this game is definitely solid.
That is our three basic categories, and it is time for us to move on into the actual discussion topic for this episode. So, gifted games, eh? People have given us games. Maybe we have given people games. Do we have? I'm very interested later to hear specifically about maybe any potential disappointments that we might have gotten. But I guess to start off, has anybody here have any favorite memories with games that have been gifted, or just like really cool games that have been introduced to through a gift?
Hmm. I've definitely had a lot of gifted games.
Most of my favorites. Yeah.
The end.
No,
That's the
continue.
discussion this time.
That's it.
At the end.
Goodbye.
I'm trying to, because I gotta think specifically which games were gifted that I would talk about for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, we
Never
could,
seen this
since
topic
we
coming.
are, yeah, since we are, this episode is releasing around the holidays. How about we focus on any games that we might have gotten for, the winter holidays, Christmas and the like. I
Hmm.
don't know what people
I
have been
think it like doesn't
celebrating.
count if my mom got me a video game because that I'd have definitely have like a very big memory of. But like, does that
Why
really
not?
count?
Sure, why
I
not?
don't know.
Sounds like a gift to me.
Well, in that case, probably my favorite gifted game memory would be Pokemon XD, Gale of Darkness.
Oh,
It's one of the funnier names. So this would have been like what was the year Pokemon XD released? Because it was like the same year it was releasing, 2005. So I would have been like 11. And as you may have noticed, I like Pokemon a lot. Shocking, I
oh
know.
yeah.
I was really excited for this game to come out because I already had Pokemon Coliseum. And Pokemon Coliseum I also quite liked. And had released like, I don't know, year before or something, I think it would be. So I was all like, man, Pokemon XD. I'm really excited, Ooh, I wish I could get it kind of thing. But, like I said, didn't have a lot of money growing up, wasn't necessarily going to be able to afford it. So my mom actually worked as one of those like bell ringers for like the Salvation Army kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
And did that as an extra part-time job for the month. So, and then stayed up all night wrapping them, made sure I didn't see it. And then, of course, that's what I opened the next day, Pokemon XD. I immediately started playing it. I love this game too. It's very good. I'm pretty sure my main file for this game is like 178 hours of having played it, kind of
Holy
thing.
crap.
And I've beaten it multiple times too, because it's very fun. It's very easy, like casual to go through kind of thing. Even if it's one of the tougher Pokemon, it's easy to boot up. You get a bit more of a directed story. So that, off the top of my head, is like gifted games memory.
It's a good mix because it is a wholesome story of mom really like, making effort to get
Yeah,
something cool for her son. And then the game also not being disappointment. It's a very nice
yeah.
ending to that.
It
Yeah.
was an awesome game. Yeah.
Yeah, that rules actually.
Hmm. I also have a memorable Christmas video game that I was gifted. And it's funny, this is one of my most memorable Christmas gifts of all time in general. We were talking at work a couple of weeks ago about like the most memorable Christmas gift we've gotten. This one serves as both like my most memorable gift and one of my most memorable video game gifts. But flashback to Christmas 1999, and I received Nintendo 64 with Donkey Kong 64. This is my very
Oh
first
boy,
console.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
my very first console. So honestly, this is probably like a core part of my gamer origin story is getting the N64 and Donkey Kong 64, which ended up being, it's a fantastic game. I've revisited it as an adult, and I've never actually beaten it, like full disclosure, but I love it whenever I play it. It's got 5 different Kongs you can play as, has a banger of a soundtrack, a lot of fun different levels. And I just remember, oh, actually, what was really funny about this game? I was so young when I played it that I was terrified of like all the different bosses. So Armadillo is like the very first boss that you fight. I had to turn off all the music to to muster up the courage to fight him. And when I replayed it as an adult, I was like, this is so funny because he's actually adorable. Like this scared me as a kid. I was like, oh my gosh, like there's like thunder and
Oh,
lightning and like he's like
yeah.
shooting stuff at you. But
That's
he's meant to be like
awesome.
very cute and stuff. But I just a lot of fun memories playing this game. This game will always have a special place in my heart because of, just like what like a milestone it was for me in my video game journey. And also 'cause it's like a solid game. I feel like it gets kind of dunked on sometimes, but I will defend Donkey. I mean, it's definitely not a perfect game. Like there's some tedious.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a collectathon that has some its tedious moments, and like I mentioned, I haven't beaten it because there are some parts that I can't get past. One of them being defeating the original. You have to play the original Donkey Kong game in it, and that part I'm bad at that.
Dude, that's why I got stuck. It's not just that you have to play the original Donkey Kong. Don't you have to beat it like 3 full things in a
Something like
row
that,
or
and I can't even
something
beat
to
it
get
one
the
time.
key?
So
Damn.
I
I'm
mean,
out
I
of luck
I
with
can
that.
beat
But
Donkey Kong like once, but especially while I was younger, 3 times that might be out of the question.
yeah, but that's
I
definitely.
also, I also sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say like there's 2 games I can remember getting gifted. And this is if we're talking about Christmas games, Donkey Kong 64
Mhm.
is one of them.
I also just want to agree. I think this game does get dunked on a little too hard. It's not an
Mm.
amazing, oh my god, such a good game, but I think it gets sometimes a bit too much heat.
Fair, yeah.
My birthday's in January, so a lot of times, like, people will see me for my birthday and I'll get gifts for my birthday, but a lot of times it's like, "This is for Christmas and this is your birthday," on, like, the same day. So,
Mhm.
like I
Right.
always, like, can never remember, like, "Was that for my birthday? Was that for
Uh,
Christmas?" Because like, everything is, like, in that same time frame, so
That makes sense.
yeah, I'm a December baby, so I have a similar like sort of like birthday
yeah.
season and Christmas season overlap.
Yeah. So I do know that Grand Theft Auto 3 was for my birthday because I remember I wasn't old enough when my dad got it for me. And I remember like looking at the mature rating and being like, should I just wait a few years to play it? Like, will he feel like awkward if I haven't played it yet? Like, I was a good kid. Like, I tried not to
What do I do here?
overstep my my boundaries. But I was like, I'll play it and see how it is." And like thus began like my obsession with Rockstar games. So uh he hit it out of the park that year because he also gave me Moulin Rouge like unseen. Neither of us had seen it. And to this day it's
Oh,
still my
nice.
favorite movie. So
Mm.
like that year, Dad was like with the bangers. But
That's it out the park.
I also got Red Dead 2 for Christmas, but I hadn't played Red Dead 1. And then when I finally got around to it, then I made him play Red Dead 2, and he's a higher level in online than I am.
Gamer dad.
Love it.
Gamer dad.
It's so amazing how like how Rockstar in general, but also Red Dead 2 has become like a connection between him and I, where like he got it for me. I didn't play it for a while. When I finally did get around to play it, I ran to him and was like, "You need to play this right now. You're gonna love it." And like then we both started playing online, and like both of us have just not stopped playing this game. Yeah, I think also I'm not sure if it was for Christmas or for my birthday, but I think because we had Uncharted and we played a few of them. I hadn't personally played Uncharted, but it was in the house. I think that's why he got me the first Last of Us. And that also, I was like, when I finished it, I was like, you should also play this game. And then he played that one as well. I remember it was for Valentine's Day. I think I've mentioned on the podcast. My mom, one time we went to the toy store and she got me Minish Cap. And that was like one of the very first times that like I like info bombed her about everything Zelda. And she was just like, I don't know what's happening, but okay, I'm glad you
God.
enjoy it. Like, yeah, most of the time, I think most of the games that I've been gifted, either they knew was gonna like it, or it just happened to be something that was along my one of sort of the games that I would like play anyway. Grand Theft Auto wasn't even on my list, but I think my dad probably was just like, this is probably something she would enjoy. So he was just like, I don't know, fine. I would love to talk to him and like ask him like if he remembers like what his other choice was for presents that year.
That would be interesting.
Obviously my whole family plays games, so it's not like it wasn't like that sort of thing where like the mom goes to the store and it's just like, where's the Mario game? I'm going to buy the Mario game,
Yeah.
like having
Uh,
no concept
Right.
whatsoever. Like he's been playing games with me since like the first NES console, so like he knows something about games. We read the magazines or whatever, so it wasn't that sort of thing where he was just like, I don't know, this is popular, I'm gonna buy it for my daughter.
Right.
I'm always curious to know like what the other options were that he was just like, I picked the one that ended up being like my whole personality for a while.
It's so unusual too. Like the usual story is that a kid wants GTA, but the parents deem it like too violent or whatever for the kid. I've
Yeah,
never heard like your story that the
the
parent
opposite.
is the one that seeks it out and
Right.
suggests it to their kid.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a rarer one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely my dad is definitely cool in that aspect. Like he's the one who showed me like Dark City and The Matrix and like Snake Eyes, that sort of thing. I was just like, no, it's R-rated. I can't watch this yet. And he was just like, no, it's fine.
Nah, you'll be
You can handle
fine.
this.
That's awesome.
To Matt's
Oh
point,
yeah.
that reminded me of another birthday gift that I received that was kind of like I guess the opposite of your story. So I wanted to play The Sims so badly as a kid. But my mom was like, my mom was pretty strict growing up. She was like, no, this is rated T. Absolutely not. Like, this is inappropriate. There's no way you can play it. But on my 13th birthday, when I finally became T for teen, I
Yeah.
got The Sims as a birthday gift. And I was so excited. I was through the roof because I've been wanting to play this game for years and years. And I got pretty hooked on The Sims too. I played The Sims 2, The Sims 3, hundreds of hours in all of them. But I actually haven't played The Sims 4 yet. But that was another big defining moment for me, is being able to play T-rated games.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
true.
And I
I
have
did.
another. Oh yeah,
Oh,
go for it.
I
can
think I
I?
did also get Sims 1 for back when I had a Mac computer. And that was like the first and the only game that I could get for Mac that was like on CD-ROM or whatever. And I was like, whoa, this is gonna be
Yeah.
so cool. I get to play games for once.
Gaming. Before Diallo goes, I do want to mention one thing, because we're talking about like the gifted T-rated, M-rated games kind of stuff. So like my mom definitely also the type to like at least look over what's happening, but also the type to be like, well, she wasn't big on GTA kind of thing, but she didn't mind if it was like a mature rated thing with a different kind of energy necessarily,
Yeah.
to an extent anyway. But my first M-rated games were also gifted games, so that's why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
But they were from my grandmother, who is kind of technologically illiterate, let's say. She preferred using a web TV to a computer for like a decade kind of
Nice.
thing.
Nice.
It's the classic, the web
I
TV.
wanted one of those so badly.
They suck ass, but they are kind of a fun novelty.
They're good when you don't have money for a computer, yeah.
I mean, sure, if you don't have money for a computer, obviously. But God, I had to use that web TV for a while, and it was a depressing time. Anyway, so I would have probably been around, I want to say 14 or so. So I was, a few years before mature, maybe 15 actually, because it wouldn't have been too long. Anyway, the games I wanted were some games I had been talking with my friends a lot online and heard a lot about that I was interested in, and they were Persona 3 FES and Persona 4. Now you gotta realize
Oh.
my grandmother mostly has purchased me like Madden games kind of thing. But somehow she was correct in finding these two games when I had asked for them. And when I had asked for them, I hadn't cleared them with my mom yet, but I was just like, "Oh yeah, these are cool. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with it." And for what it's worth, I would say Persona games. There's mature themes, but they weren't the kind of thing she was going to worry about
Yeah.
because she was more worried about drugs, shooting people, that kind of thing. Whereas I'd say obviously Persona.
The real
Now, granted,
topics.
the real topics. Now, granted, maybe the Persona 3 shooting yourself in the head to summon things maybe would have been a no go, but just shove that to the side a little bit.
Back then, people weren't
Anyway,
that sensitive. I don't think I've ever gotten from family like T-rated games or whatever. I think, especially my dad was always like very strict. If we're going back to Christmas or like holiday like Christmas gifts specifically, I only remember two video games getting for that. Which for one, like Rayman 2, I've mentioned in a previous episode a while back because that I got for Christmas, and we had a tradition at the time where we went visit the graveyard on the day after Christmas evening.
all right.
I
Yeah.
remember being so hyped about Rayman 2 that all I could think of while walking over the graveyard and looking at gravestones, like, is just Rayman in Rayman 2 jumping around and all these little critters from the game, like hanging around this graveyard. And it's a weird mix of things, but it has always like stuck with me as a like nostalgic memory.
That's such a funny mix.
It is weird, kinda. The sad thing though is that like I love Rayman 2 and I've spent uncountable hours with that game growing up. I've never actually beat it back then though because the game was glitched where
Aw.
some sort of anti-piracy measure was like misbehaving, and after like 2/3 of the campaign it just like locked you off from any progress. And we were never like, there's a patch for it to just install and it's fine, but I don't think we ever like actually knew about that back in the old days. So I was just stuck with it and just played the first 2/3 of the game over and over again. I think I only finished the game once when I was an adult at some point, though I'm actually even not sure about that now. But I still have that physical CD somewhere in my boxes.
Matt considers, has he ever finished a game?
I'm not sure. Someday I'm probably gonna like actually go back to it and like make sure it is the Rayman game I have the most like memories with. And the second
I mean,
specific,
I'd love to see you beat it.
yeah, it is a good one. The second Christmas video game that I remember is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team for the Nintendo DS, I believe, which was one of the earlier ones in this sort of Pokemon spin-off series. And I remember, I think my parents just got it because it's Pokemon. And I like Pokemon. I don't believe that I like wanted it specifically. I was kind of like excited about it for a while, but I think, and this is funny to me in hindsight, I think these Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games are probably too JRPG for me to like. You know, regular Pokemon technically is a JRPG, but it's very much not really messing with typical JRPG
Right.
elements.
I feel
That's
the
what it's
same.
kind
Right.
of known for. Yeah, and I believe Mystery Dungeon is actually too JRPG in how it walks, and that probably like deterred me. I never finished that either. Don't really remember any other video games for Christmas specifically, but so T and M rated games or whatever as a gift, never got any of that from my family, but I had friends, of course, and they were always, the source for the not allowed things. And one of the funniest, I think, occasions for getting a video game gifted for me is so I'm not sure if I'm not sure how this is called, what this is called in English or whatever, if this is even a tradition in English. Growing up as a Christian kid, my church had a thing where, as a teenager, you went to Sunday school, learned a bunch of stuff, and then you had your quote unquote confirmation, where you were then officially, part of the church or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and for some reason, like this is a common tradition here with our strains of Christianity or whatever. I have no idea how far that reaches to the rest of the world. And it's always like a thing where people just shower the kid with gifts and money and whatever for some reason. I don't know why. And for some reason, because my dad did not let me ever like play any first person shooters. And I really, really wanted to play Counter-Strike with my friends. And we had many arguments and he did not allow it in the house.
Hmm.
So I just said to my friend, my childhood friend, hey, I would love if you would just like give me a burnt copy of Counter-Strike 1.6 for my stupid ass confirmation. That would be epic. And bro did pull through. I did get Counter-Strike for this
Bro pulled through, dude.
Christian event. It's so fucking stupid.
It's
Now
I'm not
really
that's a good.
funny.
Now that right there is some good Christian value.
Yeah. I have officially left the church since I am officially a heathen these days. But that is my greatest achievement from somehow coming out of my coming up in this environment.
You might have left the church, but you didn't give the game back. I bet it.
No, definitely not. I've enjoyed Counter-Strike 1.6 many a years after that.
I'm trying to think of when I got my first M-rated game, because I think the best way that I could describe, or one of the best ways I can describe the way I was parented, is that at the age when most of my friends were starting to babysit, I was still being babysat. So I think I was probably like
Oh.
off in
Yeah.
college, like, or I even graduated college by the time I actually got an M-rated game. But speaking of games from friends, that did remind me of the other birthday game I was going to talk about was Super Mario Galaxy. One of my friends gave me that for my birthday in high school, and I was blown away because I feel like, giving someone a whole Wii game, that felt like a big deal to me. His family's probably well off, but I was like, that's a big deal. That's a lot of money to spend on
That's a
little
fucking
teenage
Wii.
me. Yeah. So I ended up 100%ing that game, both because A, I wanted to sort of, like show my appreciation for having received this like tremendous gift, and B, because I just ended up loving it so much. Mario Galaxy will always have a special place in my heart because of that. Got to Super Luigi Galaxy. Can't remember if I completed Super Luigi Galaxy or not, but I definitely the game had a chokehold on me for a large part of my high school experience.
Good choice.
Yeah, people love that game, eh? I've never heard somebody
Mm.
not like that game.
Yeah, I've got to get back to finishing it. I was enjoying it. I don't know if I was quite as over the moon. It's good.
If we talk, okay, so that was a good game that you got from a friend. Here's a bad game that, it's not like dramatic or whatever, but here's a memory that I had when I was thinking about this subject. I remember when I got my first Game Boy, the old brick one. My parents did give me that for a birthday at some point, and they got me Pokemon Yellow edition, which like that game is fine. That is not what I'm getting at. Pokemon Yellow I appreciate for being my first proper Pokemon game, and I appreciate my parents for getting me that after I annoyed
Right.
them so much, because my dad, I've previously said, my dad deemed Pokemon too violent to actually be good for kids, and he still
Ooh,
allowed it for some
Pokemon.
reason. I'm very glad about that. Though to be fair, Yellow Edition sucks ass compared to any other Pokemon game, and I would not like.
No, I will not hear this.
I'm so
Does that mean
sorry.
you don't? So, do you prefer red and blue to yellow then?
Yes, 100%.
I mean, I think the thing is you have to treat Yellow as its own thing. You can't treat it as like a standard Pokemon game. You have to think of it as kind of like a anime
Yeah.
companion. And I
Yeah.
think that's where the beauty of it
I don't know if I
lies.
go that far,
Yeah.
but
See, yeah, that's true. I think I'm a bit like, I had bad luck with that being my first one, because I saw my friends play the regular versions, having like the time of their life with their starter of choice and whatever. And I had to like sit here and do Pikachu,
Pikachu.
which is even worse with the first gym being freaking like Brock with the rock types and whatever. Like it
Hmm.
sucks as a
Yeah.
first Pokemon game.
Also, you
I want to say
also you could just get Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur in that game too. You can get all of
that's
them.
true, but like nowadays I don't care anymore because I put the starter on the computer almost immediately anyway and just get my own team together. But like
Hmm.
back then, it was kind of a bummer. Anyway, as a kid, I loved it either way. What I was actually going for was that I had my first Game Boy then, and my parents told my cousin, I believe, because he already had a Game Boy, to give me some of his old games that he doesn't want anymore. So I have, a bit more of a library to play with. And I
Makes
remember
sense.
he gave me, to be fair, he gave me Quirk, which is a very good puzzle game. So I can't be that mad. But he also gave me Super RC Pro Am, which is a top-down racing game, and that shit just sucks. So I I have
I think
I
that's just
remember,
because it's top down.
yeah, and people actually like that one from what I've heard. But yeah, that genre of game just rarely works. Um, That's why still to this day in Kirby Air Ride, that top-down racing part is the least popular one. It is just a fact.
Yeah.
I have vivid memories of trying to enjoy this game, but I have never been able to. And like that kind of is in my memory as one of the one of the most disappointing like gifted games for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I get you for that.
I know there was a birthday that I got PSP, and I think the first game I got for that was Twisted Metal Head On.
Mm.
And I was super excited because I had played Twisted Metal Black, and I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be, like, the next one. I'm gonna play this one until I complete it." It was, like, the night before my birthday, but it was, like it was that time of your life where, like, you stay up until 3 o'clock anyway, so it technically was my
That's my
birthday, I
current
just
time of
hadn't gone to
life.
sleep
Right,
yet.
right.
So,
Yeah.
my dad was just like, "Here, these are your presents, because like, I'm not gonna be here when you wake up," because he had to go to work or whatever. So,
Right.
like, I opened
Right.
it, I played the game, and I finished it before I went to bed.
Oh wow.
I didn't even get to play it on my actual birthday because I finished it
That's
before, like, I went to
funny.
bed, and I was
That's
like, "You know
so
what?"
weird.
Okay.
That is
So, it was
incredibly
a
fun.
great game, it was fun, but I was, like, so pissed that it was so short.
You're like, come on, at least a little bit more. That actually reminds me, my PSP was also a gift from my Uncle Chris. But I
Shout out
don't
to
think I
Chris.
even turned it on or opened it for probably a decade. I
A
opened it, I guess.
decade.
He gave me like 20 games too.
What
But
the
like,
fuck happened?
That's me.
What?
I just didn't care about the PSP
That's
at the time.
crazy.
I'd say mostly like open and start doing stuff more when I start getting into like. I mean, I don't think I even opened it until after COVID.
Holy
Wow.
crap, dog.
No, I had opened it because I opened it, I checked all the ports. I don't think I turned it on and played it until after COVID.
Damn.
'Cause
And
I
now
think
it's your
part of
favorite
that's because
platform ever.
I've turned it on once. No, I've turned it on twice.
What the fuck, dog? What the fuck?
I've played more PSP games on my computer than my PSP.
That's wild.
I mean,
Okay.
fair. I
Yeah.
think I have, like, maybe 5 games for my PSP, but I watched a lot of movies on it because I would just, like, I would, like, rip them from the DVD and then put them on the PSP, and I would watch them on my
Mhm.
PSP going to
Mhm.
on my way to college classes.
That makes sense.
So I
Like,
use my PSP a lot, but not for games.
I had games gifted to me, like physical games, that I ended up never actually playing for some reason or another, but I've never had a system gifted to me that I never actually used. That is
Well,
a new level.
it's not even the only system I've never used, although the other one wasn't a gift. I've never turned on the SNES that me and my mom purchased.
Oh my god.
Bro, I mean, I guess
I was
emulation is
I,
easy enough for that, yeah.
no, this was before emulation was a thing when I got it.
What the
That was
heck,
like
dog?
I was
What?
too busy with my NES. I was too busy with my NES. I
I
was too
guess
busy
that's
playing
Fair,
fair.
but
and like Nintendo 64 and GameCube. It just kind of fell in the. I think also one thing with like
Oh.
the PSP is that a lot like so my uncle, like with the PSP, for example, gave me a lot of games, and I'm gonna bet a lot of them are actually good. But there's also a bunch of them that are like random sports game, Puzzle Quest, Challenge of the Warlords, arcade ports that are in a collection kind of thing, and it just wasn't something that grabbed me. But like, I
I thought
have
you liked
Ridge
sports
Racer
games.
PSP, which I've got. I like sports games. I don't like random ass PSP sports game that like I tried one of the. Oh, I did remember I have played a game on it. It was during COVID. It was God, what was it? It sucked ass, so I retired it. What was it called?
Oh my god. I really want to know what
Um
this was now. The one
it's
fucking
a
game you
tennis
played on
it's a
this thing.
tennis game. It's a tennis game. Well, no, I played Ace Combat X Guys of Deception and started that.
Oh yeah,
Was
yeah,
really
yeah.
bad at it. Keep meaning to return to it. What was that fucking tennis game?
We will never know, probably. We will never
No, no,
know.
I got you. You guys continue. I gotta find this. I've got to find this tennis game. I can't not do this.
Very important. So here, like, okay, so I said that I had been gifted games that I never ended up playing, and I actually I think they are both like kind of stuff that they want to like make up for at some point. I remember being gifted for, I think, birthday by a friend a Spider-Man game for the Xbox 360, which I'm to this day not sure which one it was.
Virtual
I
Tennis
have,
World Tour.
of course, that one. Yeah, of course.
It
So
sucked
now that
ass.
you have found the tennis game, please find the Spider-Man 360 game that I can't remember. There isn't even that many out there,
That's you
and
might
I've
need to be more
looked.
specific.
That's the thing. I
Yeah,
can't. I've looked
Spider-Man.
at the cover art so many times in the past, trying to figure out which exactly it was. But it feels like I have it in my mind, but it just doesn't exist or something. It's so
So there's
strange.
Spider-Man 3.
You
Can you tell
don't need
someone
to
to
list them.
like
I know. I've been through them.
Well,
Matt's
wait,
been
do
over
you
this
remember
many times.
do you remember anything
Yeah.
about the game at all? Like anything
No,
at all?
no. So no. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
My
that does make it
I was
difficult.
I was gifted this. It was shrink wrapped. It was brand new, and I never opened it. I was actually curious to play it. The thing is, it was right at the time when I was kind of ditching all my consoles. The 360 I only had for like a couple of months before I said, "Okay, I don't care about this anymore. I'm gonna go full on PC
Damn.
or whatever." And so it just happened to be the wrong time, and I got rid of it together with all my other physical gaming stuff before even ever opening it. But like it's this tiny spark in the back of my mind that is thinking like, wouldn't it be fun to kind of dig this out and actually give it a shot nowadays if I could actually figure out which one it was. But I don't know. There's a similar
I
thing
mean, you only have one
with
option, Matt. Gotta play
play 'em
every
all.
Spider-Man game for the
Every
360.
Spider-Man 360 game. That sounds like a nightmare. It's not even a platform I like. Maybe someday. There's
I mean,
also
there's probably only like 4.
that's too many. I've also been gifted, and this is very easy to identify, Star Wars Episode 3 for the PlayStation 2, which I have not which I didn't end up playing for the similar reasons. I think it was around the same time, actually. And that one I do actually wanna go back at some point and play because I still hear to this day that that game was actually pretty dang rad, and I wouldn't mind. I like these kind of Star Wars prequel games. They have a certain weird atmosphere
Energy.
around them that I like. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have a weird energy for sure. A weird midichlorian count on those on those freaks. I
I mean,
generally
like,
think that's the only 2
uh,
gifted games that I can remember at least that I've not even tried.
I mean, I have like 15
Not
PSP
counting
games I haven't
digital
tried.
gifts.
Not
Yeah,
counting
yeah,
digital.
you.
Well, all right. Speaking of digital gifts, I do want to point out after the podcast, but before this one, Matt gifted
Oh,
me
yeah.
Demon School on Steam, so that's one game that's gonna come up at some point.
I
I have
hope
a friend
so.
who's been playing through it too and really liking it. I mean, one thing I will say that sometimes sometimes something that does suck ass with me is I'll get gifted games and then never play them.
Yeah.
Um, remember the oldest game on our backlog episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I played Dot Clock, the Toasted Sandwich of Time. That was a gifted game for me from 2007.
Yeah, I wonder why you never played that one. Though, like, I want to be clear about this. You have no obligation to play that. Just play it whenever it feels like it. That's it. I just want
I
to,
kind of want to play it sometime
yeah,
soon because I have a friend who's
sure.
playing it and really enjoying it, and I'm like, oh, we could talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna hear it in the retired section for next episode, where it's gonna be like, I retired this game without even starting it. Get wrecked, Matt.
That would be
In
kind of
fact,
hilarious.
I've deleted it from my Steam. I made sure to
Damn
cough
it.
support. I don't want it.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't even be like that butthurt because I bought the game for Roy partially just because I wanted to support the developer. I know the main head
Yeah.
behind the game. I like the person and I like what else they are doing online. And I just want to give them support, even though I'm not actually interested in playing the game. So it was actually perfect that Roy wants to play it, and so like we both got our like wish, me spending
It
money,
worked
and
out
he
for
is
both of us.
able to
Yeah,
play it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah. So I'm all good with whatever you do with the game, honestly.
That actually reminds me. I don't know if we could even put like a link to this. I don't know if we want to link to another backlog website.
Oh,
But
that's frisky.
That feels
another thing
unkosher.
I've used is there's a guy on backlog.com who has what he calls the perpetual Steam game giveaway. And he has like a bunch of Steam keys and extra game he's got, like 6 pages worth. And he'll just give you the game, and all he asks is that you don't get anything else from him until you play the game and you review the game, because he just wants to see people review games.
That's cool.
So that's a fun thing to just like get gifted games kind of thing, and then you just write a review. I gotta get mine finished at some point, which was Virgo and the Zodiac.
You should tell him to come to How Long to Beat and see the light. That's what you should do, and then we can link it.
But it is cool though.
No, it is
Yeah, that
cool.
is
That
cool.
sounds really cool. Yeah, cool way to
Yeah.
do it. Just I have a quick apology if by any chance Let's Talk About Dune from the community listens to this. I'm sorry I never finished Hollow Knight. I still appreciate that you bought this for me years ago. I feel a bit bad about it. In case you hear this, I hope you can accept my apology. That's all I
I
wanted to
think it's
say.
him too. I'm not sure who it is, but somebody when we had Grim Fandango as Game of the Month gifted me Grim Fandango. And then a bunch of stuff came up in my life. I didn't play Grim Fandango that month. So
Oh my God.
apologies to whoever it was who gifted that. I will play it at some point because I'm actually interested in it, but not yet.
Not anytime soon.
Sometime in a theoretical future.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been games that I have gotten that I didn't like, but whenever somebody has bought me something themselves, I try to like this isn't always true because I have like had books given to me and then they just sat on my shelf for like a decade. So I guess
Mhm.
not all media is the same way, but like if it's like a movie, a series or whatever, like I try like oh they gave it to me either they really cared about it or they think I would like it and like that tends to take precedence and I'm like oh I'm going to get
Mhm.
to this, as soon as I can. And like I also tend to through those games if I had bought it, I would have been like, "Fuck it, I don't like it. I'm gonna retire it." But I'm like, "No, this person like spent their money on me. I'm going to like get through it, as much as I
It makes
can."
sense.
So
I'm gonna at least give it a good try.
I remember my dad wanted this is the other way around, but my dad wanted Days Gone because we had just finished playing, I guess, Last of Us. He wanted Days Gone, and I got him that. And he was just like, I don't know, maybe you'll like it. And then I didn't like it either. So I was like, well, that's fair. It was a bad game to begin with. Like,
Well,
we both retired it. It's fine.
it's always funny to me when someone will be like, I played Animal Crossing for 800 hours. Didn't really like it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god.
And there's always that meme too, where like somebody is like writes a review and they're just like, do not recommend, but it's like 800 hours on their
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
their account.
Yeah.
It's like, dude. My favorite is when they'll review it with like 200 hours on their account at the time of reviewing it, and then still play it for like 1,000 more hours. And it's like,
Yeah,
why do you
that's
hate
the
yourself this
wild
much?
ones. Yeah. Hate that. Very untrustworthy sources right there.
Hmm.
Yeah. I know R2 D2 1999 recently played Days Gone and seemed to enjoy it. So now I'm very curious to go back to
Yeah.
it.
Well, but he also plays, and this is not a dig, he also enjoys the N-Gage. So you need to take his opinions with a grain of salt. And
Bro,
I love R2.
he's gonna be coming after your ass. You are dissing the
Yeah.
N-Gage live
No,
on
I love
stream.
R2. I actually, I think I'm like the only one on the forum, on the Discord, that actually like defends him and the N-Gage sometimes, because I find the N-Gage fascinating. I did also enjoy an N-Gage game before, so no, I'm with him. But
Only
still,
one.
I've never seen an Engage in real life.
dude, that was my main phone for a while.
Who's your main phone? That is very funny, not gonna lie. Damn it, now he's gonna come for me.
Yeah, yeah, it sucked.
I don't think I've ever seen one in real life, but like I do appreciate like quirky sort of portable games. Like he also collects all those like
Mm,
weird like McDonald's toys and Rubik's
yeah,
cube
yeah, R2 is a legend.
adjacent things.
Oh,
Those are
we
super
gotta ask
cool.
him
So
about Sonic Speedway.
R2 probably owns Sonic Speedway, the McDonald's toy from last time.
Exactly, that's why we gotta
okay,
ask him.
Yeah.
there you go.
Anyway, gifted games. Fucking hell.
Well,
Any more, or are we
I
done?
will say we gotta have an N-Gage episode at some point. Actually, that
I'm
could.
not even joking. I had that thought since the beginning of the season that we should bring R2 for an Engage episode.
Just the
That
So
history
would be
maybe.
of
cool.
portable consoles would be really cool.
Oh, I was gonna say one last thing about my PSP I never used too.
Oh
The other
my
thing is
god,
that
the sad story continues.
battery doesn't work. So I have to play it plugged in, and I'm like, I can play my Game Boy Advance, and I can be on the go.
Oh my
Why do I?
god, that poor
If
thing.
I'm honestly, I wonder how much a PSP battery is. I know I brought this up last time, but now I'm like actually thinking.
I'm on the verge of just buying it for you. If Uncle Chris, I think was his name, if Uncle Chris
Yeah.
listens to this by any miracle, I want to apologize on behalf of Roy for this.
I mean, what's funny is I was like, oh, cool, and then I just never used it.
Oh my god.
Because it was cool to get a console. Because it wasn't even.
Yeah.
But the funny thing too, it wasn't his console, and it wasn't brand new. It was like his friend's console that he gave him, and then he gave me.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
It was like after
Nobody
him and
wants
his friend
this.
had some falling out over basketball or something.
Oh, rip.
This Uncle
Great
Chris
basketball
sounds like a
player.
cool guy.
Funny.
I
Yeah,
hope
they're
he
like
gifts me some games
$50.
someday.
That's not bad.
The Roy family lore deepens.
The
Yeah.
lore, the deep lore.
All right.
Was there anything
Shall we
else?
move
Not
on to another game that we will not regift because we are
Oh.
gonna play it for the last time, probably. Are we ready for guess the game? Where the aim of the game
My
is
body
to
is ready.
guess the game. Yeah, there we go. For one last time. We will play guess the game,
a moment of
which
silence.
works as follows. I will reveal completion notes from users on the How Long to Beat website, starting with a main completion, following with a main plus, and then ending with a completion, 100% completion note. And according to these notes, my fellow co-hosts are gonna have to guess what game they are referring to. The earlier they guess, the more points they get. And currently, the score is as follows. I think it's now important as it ever was. Diallo on the bottom with 6 points.
Let's
Followed
go.
by followed by Leah with 7 points. Roy got a whole 9 points, and I, of course, am on top with 10 points as
Yeah.
as I
You
earned
were
it.
you were in last place for so long.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also,
Shot ahead.
I have
That
to.
is true.
In my defense, I have to say I have the highest average points per episode
Yeah.
attended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Because you missed so many episodes. I was almost
sure.
wondering if we should help Diallo out some, but
It's fine.
But
I can still. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna get it in one try this time. It's gonna be a game not in my backlog, and I'm gonna catapult to first
that's
place.
possible.
Yeah.
okay,
I'm manifesting it.
so
Yeah, I was also doing the math. Like, I have to get in
Unfortunately-
the first round.
you're not gonna get a bonus. Here's the thing. Finding a game that all 3 of you have beaten is, of course, at this point impossible. One of the reasons why we're retiring this game. What I have picked up now is a game that Diallo and Leah, you both have beaten it. Roy
No.
has interacted with it, but not beaten.
I've interacted with it.
Yes.
You've definitely looked at it.
May I ask, does that mean it's in my backlog, or like I've actually interacted with it?
You have it is on one of your game lists. That's how vague I'm gonna keep it. I don't want to
Oh,
actually
spicy.
reveal the status. You have a slight disadvantage for sure. That's what you get for having the most points out of the 3 of you. I
Mhm.
thought it was like the fairest thing I could figure out here.
That's fair. That
Um,
is fair, admittedly.
And I'm gonna reveal the first note, which is by a user named Pigned. 7 hours and 30 minutes for main completion, saying, really cool game with amazing jokes. Puzzle moment doesn't so hard. Maybe only 3 last levels. 10 out of 10. No, there's a bit of a syntax error in that sentence. I'm aware, but I think we
Sorry,
can.
could you reread it?
Yeah, I also put it in the chat, but
Oh, thank you.
really cool game with amazing jokes. Puzzle moment doesn't so hard. Maybe only 3 last levels. 10 out of 10. I think they're trying to say the puzzles are not that hard, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like puzzles maybe not that hard.
Yeah, something like that.
Alright. So it's got to be something that Leah and that Diallo have actually beat.
Correct. Yes.
Alright.
And you know this game, but that's all I'm saying, basically. You have interacted with it.
I know this.
on
I
how
know
you
this
do it.
game in some way.
Yes, exactly.
Alright.
Puzzle game, or a game with
It's gotta be-
puzzling and levels around 7 hours long.
Main.
And it could be that it
Main
gets
game.
longer on the main plus.
Yeah.
Puzzle game. Puzzles weren't that hard
Making
later.
jokes.
So it's got to be something with at least some funny.
Okay,
Or at least they
I
think,
think
or at least they think it's funny.
the joke thing makes me think. I'm gonna go with Portal 2.
God damn, that's a good one.
We
Because I
did
have
so
that.
already.
I have Portal 2 on my backlog, so I would have interacted with it.
Hmm.
I don't think Lee is being a Katamari game.
I don't even know for sure myself.
Well, unfortunately, I think it might just be Portal 2. It also doesn't even have to be a puzzle game, it just needs to have puzzles in it.
Puzzles in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or puzzle
Yeah.
moments,
Right.
as Pignet is
Or
saying.
puzzling mode. Only thing is, it's probably just Portal 2, honestly. That feels like it makes the most sense.
Where I have
Which
doubts
means
though
I wrote-
is the maybe only 3 last levels part, because I kind of think maybe that would be like for the multiplayer
I
thing.
think-
Or...
I can't remember what the 3 last levels of Portal 2 were. I accept the boss fight, I guess.
Because I feel like the main game. Oh, okay. I see. Because I have a possible reinterpretation of that comment now, so that would make it make sense for Portal 2. Okay.
No, that's too short. Has Leah said anything, or am I on the clock here?
No, only Diallo. Yeah, only Diallo.
All right, I wanted to make sure I wasn't just holding stuff up as the Lone Ranger here. No, that's. It's just gonna be Portal 2, isn't it?
Why Portal 2?
Maybe only.
Because
That's
Diallo
one
hasn't
is
beaten
shorter.
Portal 1.
No, I've beaten Portal, and Portal is
Oh,
shorter.
have you?
That's why I went with
It
Portal
didn't
2.
show up in your completed when I looked before to look for games. You don't
I
have it
did
on
before
how long
I
to beat.
joined How Long to Beat.
All right. Well then but Matt wouldn't know that either then, so he would also think that Portal 2 is the only one that could be picked. Unless he knows from your other backlog,
This
but
is
that would be tricky.
This is a meta
This is some
thinking
5D
idea.
chess
God damn.
bullshit.
Yeah.
But you know what? Wait. No, that would be too short. No, that would be too long. How long
The
was
player
that
could
fucking
also
game?
just be slow or fast.
You know what? I'm guessing Portal 1.
There we go. Finally.
Man,
Fuck it.
Portal 3.
You could guess Portal
Let's go.
3.
I can't. We didn't. We never decided. I mean, we haven't said anything about like fan games or anything being.
Yeah, there's no
There are
reason
no
they would be banned
rules
on
not allowing fan games.
Yeah.
If you want to
Well,
make it
there
easier, I can
are-
tell you I have completed no fan games.
it. Yeah, because he mentioned that in the fan games episode.
Yeah.
Shit.
No, the
Oh,
thing
could
is
it
that like
be-
it's not just. If it was, there would be more Portal games that I've played. So that's why I was confused. I was like, wait, that wasn't a rule, but okay.
Nah, we're just messing around.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to say I have like 3 of them on my mind, but I have no idea. I'm gonna say
Time to hit shuffle on the brain and just see which one it is.
yeah, Stanley Parable. I don't know.
I wondered if it might be something like that, honestly.
So we got Portal 1, Portal 2, and Stanley Parable.
Yeah.
I'm happy to announce that Diallo is correct. It is Portal 2.
God damn it.
So
Sorry,
that is a
Git
full
Man to
3
beat you.
points.
All right.
Which is
From
raising
last
Diallo from
second.
last spot to second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tied with Roy.
Tied with me.
Comeback King.
Hell yeah.
Dude, if only we had a tiebreaker round to see who was second and who was third.
Nope. These are the final scores of this game. You better fucking accept that. So Leah 7, Diallo and Roy both got 9 points, and I got the 10. And
And
this
you
was
at
the
the
final
10.
game of Guess the Game.
Damn. So for you, those of you out there who are playing Guess the Score, see if you got it right at the start of the season.
If you mean if they guessed the score at the beginning of the year or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
I
sure
would
a lot
be
of people
impressed if
did.
they
That's
managed to
the
guess the
score.
scores at the beginning of the year, considering that we doubled our podcast frequency. Like,
Yeah.
We doubled our podcast frequency, but you missed a bunch of episodes. It all evens out.
right, but
Yeah.
yeah, I guess. I mean, like, I guess
Did-
for my score individually, they could maybe have gotten it, but I feel like for the other 3 scores, there was no way they could have anticipated it hitting such high numbers.
Considering all of that, it's actually kind of amazing how close we all are at the end of this.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Diallo probably would have won if he didn't miss like 5 episodes, honestly.
Possibly. It would also have been harder to find games that everybody has beaten, though.
Yeah.
It was a
That's
bit
true.
easier when a person was missing.
Mm.
But yeah, that is all over. We have
I
never.
still had some games locked
to
and
do
loaded
again.
in case I needed them.
That is
Wait, so did you ever-
surprising.
Did we ever
Hmm?
decide, Matt, now that you've won Guess the Game, did you
What's
decide what your
prize?
prize is? Or is it just the glory of being the guest being champion.
Wait. You know what?
I just
it is,
bask in the
Diallo?
glory.
To find out, they'll have to watch next episode.
Yeah, that's pretty true, pretty good. Yeah.
And with that, we put Guess the Game in the grave and hope it doesn't revive as a zombie to eat all of us.
Oh boy. It's gonna be the annual Halloween special from now on. Yep.
Okay, that would be
So-
funny to actually have it resurrect once a year at Halloween.
At least at that point, our beaten catalog might have grown to that
Exactly,
there's
that's
a
what I
chance
was
of finding
thinking.
something. But yeah, who
Well,
knows?
what would happen is all it would take is us playing like one Itchmas game that we all played, and that's at least an option.
Yeah, that doesn't happen though. It hasn't happened in the past, and it won't happen now. I'm sure. Anyway, this is us. This is it. Again, if you're listening to this around the time of release, you're probably enjoying the holidays right now. So we're hoping you have a good time and a good rest of the year of 2025. Hope you listen to us again in 2026. We will see what adventure that year holds. Feel free to, tell us about your favorite gifted games or disappointments. I would love to hear those stories. Maybe you also had a Uncle Chris in your life that had some dope stuff that you didn't appreciate. Who knows? For now.
And who knows? If you're bored, maybe you gift us some games.
You don't have to. Not me anyway. I'm good. But that is it. Goodbye, everybody. See you around.
Happy New Year and see you in 2026.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Don't kick in anyone's ear.